Three, two, one.
Live from the Rob Christensen Radio Network satellite studio, it's Jim and Rob overanalyze the movies. Good evening, everybody, and this is Rob. Welcome to Jim and Rob Overanalyze the Movies, a very special edition where we're going to overanalyze the 93rd Annual Oscar Awards. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight, including a couple of wonderful special guests, great friends of the show, and just a couple of announcements up front. First of all, my colleague Jim, because of course we're YouTubers, so we all have actual jobs, and Jim is right now, he's at work, but he hopes to join us mid-show, so he'll be with us here. Another thing I wanted to give you folks a heads up on is next week's show, of course, where we're going to be taking a look at One Night in Miami, one of the actual nominees, as a matter of fact, for, I believe, a Best Screenplay Oscar. Anyway, so yeah, with that out of the way, and I swear to God, there's something else, and I honestly can't freaking remember it. This, of course, is why we write things down, and I just can't remember. Anyway, let's what I'm going to first do is let you know about the agenda, how we're going to kind of go through the show, and then I'll introduce our co-hosts, and we'll get into it. But first of all, what we'll do is we're first going to just kind of do a round table of our thoughts, our first hot takes on the nominees, the nomination, the Oscars in general. Then we're going to kind of go through several nominee categories. Not all of them, because we'd be here all night. But it's Best Supporting Actress, then Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor, Best Actress, then a category I created, Best Snub. And that can be, any of our panelists can say, boy, I'm really glad they were snubbed, or I can't believe they snubbed, whichever they choose, you know? Then, of course, we get back into the normal stuff, Best Director, Best Picture, and that's where our official discussion of actual categories go. One of the things that you may note is that we did not include Best Screenplay. What you'll notice with our show, folks, is Jim and I actually never talk about the script. We will talk about the story, the film story, because it's something we can see on the screen. We can say, I bet you there's a scene missing there because those two don't connect, or, you know, we don't think that character, you know, that was a great moment where the character was we get to learn about the character's motivations, that kind of story element stuff. But we won't talk about the script because it's something we don't have, right? A couple of our panelists may disagree. So there may be some hot takes coming your way. And then after that, of course, we will kind of take final thoughts. You know, is there things we missed? Should we include another category? I do want to know, whether it be in the chat or in the description below, if you're catching up later, what you think of, what you thought of our takes on it, hot or not, hot or right on. And I think that's about it. So why don't we bring in let's bring in some of our contestants. First of all, I want to introduce to you, and it's actually, although we've collaborated, or we're working on a collaboration project, we've chatted a lot, but this is actually his first time on the show, Mr. Shawn Jackson from Lost in the Reel. Welcome, Shawn. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. And hey, it has been too long, eh? Why don't you know what, Shawn, why don't you give everyone, we do have a few people watching now. Why don't you give everyone an idea of your show, what you bring, what you like about film, where you're coming from?
Yeah, so I definitely like to concentrate on the full spectrum of film. So not only do I enjoy obviously blockbusters, but I also really enjoy talking about independent film as well, and pretty much everything in between. So yeah, I really like to find hidden gems and share them with the world and have great discussions about those hidden gems. I also have a couple of things going on the channel. I have a kind of weekly news show with my great friend Dan from the Upside Dan called
Another
The
great
Five.
friend of the show. Oh,
Yes,
sorry,
he's
continue.
amazing.
It's called
And we basically go over just weekly news about film. We pick 5 different topics for the week, and we also do trailer reactions. And last but not least, I also have a segment going on the channel called the Director Series, where we pick a director and review every single one of that director's films, and then we rank them at the very end. And that's with my really good friend, Chris.
That's super cool. What are you? I caught your review of Zack Snyder's, because you got a screener version. You got to watch a screener of Zack Snyder's version, his cut of Justice League. What are you looking for? And I recommend anyone check it out. We'll pin that in the comment after the show. What else? What are you looking forward to? What do you got coming out that you could give us a hint, give us a taste of what you got coming up that you're really excited about?
As much as I would say, and I am very excited for Godzilla versus Kong, of course, but I am most excited about this film called Voyagers that they just recently released a trailer for, and it looks like one trippy film. I am going to be getting a screener for that film as well. It's from the director of The Illusionist and Limitless.
Oh, cool.
So really looking forward to that one.
Do you have any videos coming out that you're excited about, like in the next week or so? Or is it just, you got to subscribe. Of course, folks, you got to subscribe. There is a link to his channel in the description, but anything you can tease for us without blowing the show, without referring to our collaboration, because I still post stuff on that. We don't need to embarrass me on my own show, do we?
No. Probably what I'm most excited about.
I do that myself already.
Yeah. I am most excited about. I actually had never seen the original theatrical cut of Justice League. I waited until I could watch Zack Snyder's Justice League the way that he wanted it released. So I will be having a spoiler review and kind of comparison video coming out this week for the 2 films.
Super cool, man. All right. Well, thanks for that, and welcome to the show, Shawn. Like I said, it's finally, all right. Now let's welcome another great friend of the show, a man who's been on several times, a great friend, Mr. Cody Brockopp from the Brockopp Side. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. My camera settings are a little off right now, so it looks like I'm in the Arctic, but
What's the temperature in Nevada?
It's actually been raining all day, so it's been like in the 50s all day, which has been pretty nice.
All right. Listen, 1 second here. I just got a comment in the comments that somebody's audio level is a little low.
Yeah, it's yours.
It's mine? Well, why didn't you say something?
I was in the green room this whole time, okay?
I have a device. I can actually fix this.
Yeah, well, I thought you were watching the chat. I thought that was your job.
I saw it finally. How's that, everyone? Everyone in the chat, can you give me a thumbs up? Am I too quiet, too loud? Love to hear a hot take, something. Anyway, we'll find out soon enough. All right. Cody, again, thanks very much for coming. Why don't you tell us, again, you've said it before, but it bears repeating. Tell us a bit about yourself and your channel and what you love about movies, man.
Okay, well, for those of you that haven't been around lately, my channel is the Brockopp Side, talk about all kinds of movies, but, primarily, action, blockbuster, things like that. A little bit of nostalgia sprinkled in there here and there. Mostly talk about physical media, Blu-ray reviews, unboxings, things like that. That's probably what most people will know me on YouTube for. Aside from a small corner of the internet that might know me for my Captain Underpants reviews, that's a weird little niche I've got myself involved there. Uh, but yeah, I mean, just movies are
Well,
they're
that and
awesome.
Blue's Clues.
Yeah, I've got a little notebook right there next to Dan DeVito, if that is an indication. Oh, yeah, and I just recently hit 500 subs on my channel a few days ago, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
Right on, brother.
And yeah, I'm just happy to be here talking about some more gold statues that rich people get.
Exactly. Why do we care? Oh, and speaking of which, folks, that is another agenda item that I had tacked on. What should we care about these things? All right. With that out of the way, you know what? I think we all deserve some tunes. And it looks like my audio has been addressed. My levels are good, but feel free to chime in if it still seems a little quiet. Yeah, let's get this show on the road. First of all, we've got a few folks in the chat already. Let's say hi to them before we get into the agenda proper. And everyone, just an FYI to everyone, depending on how active the chat is, I may end up you know what, we may end up having to be a little more ruthless, a little more efficient, throwing it up as an overlay and just letting it stream by as we chat and hopefully capture what we can capture. So anyway, but first of all, let's say hello to the Upside Dan.
Woo!
Mr. Ted Leroy, a friend of mine, an internet friend of mine from Curtis Judd's channel. Well, good to see you here. We've got someone new perhaps to our channel, but I don't believe to your channel, Shawn, Ms. Crystal Parker. Welcome, Crystal.
Woo, yeah.
Good to see you here. Hope you enjoy yourself. All right. Okay, I'm just dead. Oh! Ms. Katie Fowler,
Woo!
who was a guest host on our show last night, where we took a look at The Dark Divide. All right, so I think we've taken care of that. Let's jump into our agenda, and first of all, yeah, we've got first thoughts. You know what? Who wants to jump in on the first hot takes on the awards at all?
I'll go.
Excellent. Way to step up.
My first thoughts immediately when I like could not sleep last night at all. I was so excited. Also, I was working on my Justice League review, but I was not shocked by many things from these nominations. There are a couple that I'm excited to talk about, but I think the ones that I was surprised by, I was pleasantly surprised by. There's only a few that are a little bit questionable to me.
Oh, very cool. Well, so in other words, a lot of what you expected, and most of the surprises were good surprises. Fantastic. Yes. Was there any moment where you were like, was there any moment where you were looking for a jaw drop, or as you were reading, as each one came out, were you kind of gone, oh, wait a sec, this is pretty mellow?
Most of it was mellow. There was a jaw-dropping moment, though.
Looking forward to hearing about that. Okay, Cody, give us your hot or not or right on takes.
Well, I guess I could say that the Oscar nominations were somewhat predictable. I think mostly because I analyzed the Golden Globe nominations a few weeks back, so a few familiar returning titles here and there, like Trial of Chicago 7, Promising Young Woman, as well as a few other ones. There weren't any real surprises to me as far as like things that got nominated. There are a couple things that I feel like should have been nominated, and I'm a little bummed out about, but we'll get to that when we get to that part. But yeah, I think actually though, personally, when it comes to the Best Picture category, this might be the first time in a few years I've actually seen at least 50% of the Best Picture nominees already, so I feel pretty good about myself about that one, but
Good.
yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. Some pretty... a lot of the nominations are what is expected, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Would any of you guys say it looked like they were taking some big risks here, or was it all not safe, but not like
No,
okay?
It all just seemed kind of given with most of these titles,
Yeah.
I think.
Gotcha.
Not a lot of risk taking here, but yeah, some exciting things though.
Yeah, things you like without it being like what the.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, before I get into mine, do you think, I'd love to hear from you guys, like just on first blush, do you think given what's happened, given the Golden Globes, and you saw I sent that tweet from like a couple of hours ago where all these publicists basically said if the Golden Globe doesn't clean up, they won't advocate their clients participate, that it's almost, as long as they didn't really F up, the Academy is just going to look good by comparison to those, let's call them those bigoted hillbillies down the road, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Oh yeah, I
That
think
might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm reserving judgment on myself.
yeah, the Hollywood Foreign Press. I mean, they know that they've done wrong in the past, especially by not having a single member that's an African American. So they've addressed it and they're going to deal with it. But I think the Oscars, they're like, oh, okay, we can sit back and chill now because we don't have, the stress of, all of this stuff. So
We just don't have to blow it.
yes.
Gotcha. Myself, I agree with you guys almost 100%. Although that said, I am leaning into that. It's like, oh, how could you? They'd have to try hard to F it up. Like there's even though people are saying it's a bad year, and one critic I admire was like, maybe they could have even held, and another's like, they hold, pictures get held all the time, they're dealing with it. But it really did seem to me, it's like this would be a year that you can play it safe but not look like you're playing it safe, like and some of it is they've taken it awards show wise, they've taken it on the chin for a few years. Now the Hollywood Foreign Press is going to be the bad guy. It's like, all right, let's just be cool. We're gonna make
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right. With that out of the way, why don't we jump in with let's jump in. Best Supporting Actress. You know what, Shawn? Let's put you in the hot seat.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Here, and guys, and I should have been prepared for this, but of course I wasn't, because that's who I am.
What?
What?
Rob.
I know you're thinking what, but here. Okay, so the best actress in a supporting role. The nominees are Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for her performance in The Father, Amanda Seyfried in Mank, and Yoo Jung-yoon and her performance in Minari. So, with that out of the way, Shawn, who do you like? Who do you love? Who do you think will win, regardless of who you love? And are there any ones where you're going, who nominated that person?
Yeah, this was really fun, actually, because no one had any idea who was actually going to get these 5 slots. I have to preface by saying the only film that I have not seen out of everything is The Father. I still haven't seen that film. So I'm not sure how Olivia Colman did in that film, but I'm almost 100% sure she's amazing in it because she's amazing in everything. My one that I just don't, and this is a hot take for sure, is Amanda Seyfried for Mank. I did not love that film. She might have been the best part of it, but because I don't like that film, someone else could have gotten that slot, just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for Maria Bakalova for Borat 2. I think that is one courageous. She went, all out in that performance, and I think that she should be recognized for it. I mean, just for that Rudy Giuliani scene alone. I mean, that was some ballsy stuff. But so I would like to see her win. If not, I would love to see Yoon Ye-jung. Or she just has everyone call her YJ. I would love to see her win as well because she was fantastic in Minari. She was the heart of that film.
Mm-hmm. All right, and but otherwise, there's none. If you had to put money on it, though, who would you pick? Like, if it's money, it's not about who you want, who you'd like. It's your money.
Before I do that, I do want to say this. Glenn Close getting in. I know the Academy loves Glenn Close, but she was also nominated for a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress for this same performance. So
that's a hot take.
What the?
Okay, so best and worst. Some people are saying she could win. I don't want that to happen because I think the performance is way over the top and she's never won before, and I don't want her to win for this performance. I don't think that would be great.
Performance.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Well, I would put my bets on Maria Bakalova winning.
Oh, very cool. So not only your heart, but your money.
Mm-hmm.
That's commitment. All right.
Yes.
Great takes, and we'll find out how hot that Glenn Close take is in at the end of April, eh?
Yeah.
All right, Cody, you, my friend, are up.
Okay.
What? Who do you like? If you're a betting man, maybe we'll start there. If you're a betting man, who's getting your dough?
I'd have to agree with Shawn on this one. I think Maria Bakalova's got a good chance. I really liked her in Borat, the subsequent movie film. Sorry, every time I say the title of the movie, it's got to be like in some weird Kazakhstani accent. Yeah, this is one of those where I didn't see Hillbilly Elegy yet. Just hasn't been on the top of my to-do list, so I'm not really sure what good of a chance Glenn Close has, like Shawn said, but if she could win an Academy Award for playing Cruella de Vil, what chance does this movie have? So yeah, I think my thoughts are pretty much mirrored with Shawn's. I think Maria Bakalova being a new up and coming breakout star, and her performance was great in Borat 2. So I would put my hypothetical monies on her, and yeah.
All right, who do you like of all of them?
I mean, I've always liked Amanda Seyfried, but she probably was arguably the best part of Mank, but yeah, I think still gonna keep it strong with Maria.
Okay, and it sounds like you're maybe not with a big mean on, but Glenn Close is one where you're like, what?
Yeah, I don't see it.
Don't see it or don't even like it?
Probably just simply don't see it, just because when it comes to that movie, I as well have not seen it, so I can't really see it, so yeah.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. All right, before I give you guys my takes, my choices here, we got a couple of new folks in our chat. Just wanted to quickly say hi to them, including the Dragon Movie Guy.
Woo, Brian!
Woo!
And who else do we got? We've got Mr. Eddie Roberts. Welcome, sir.
Woo! Eddie.
All right. We will catch up in the chat in another section or two, but so folks don't think we're ignoring you. unless you really get out of control, and then we'll just let you feed on the side of the screen. We'll have all our own adventures. Okay, for myself, guys, yeah, I'm one of those, based on what Jim and I did this year, I have seen none of these movies. So I am going to stick with my betting, my money, my wagering money. And I'm actually going to go against you guys. And I'm going to say I'm almost like a toss-up between Amanda Seyfried and Olivia Colman. You know, I can't quite make up my mind there. So I'm going to say a toss-up between those two as far as my money goes. I am going to say alike just based on the narratives, and also like the Maria Bakalova. I think I like the fact that this woman had to. That's a lot of improv. That's a lot of high pressure improv. No, hey, can we get that take again? I'd really like to. You know, it's really kind of that's cinema verite, man. So just for sheer audacity of taking on that kind of role and delivering it the way it seems she does. Like, I mean, she's one of the highlights that everyone mentions that has seen the film. I'm kind of with you guys, and it's, boy, that'd be nice. That'd be cool. Like to, you know, just kind of lean into someone who really did have to deliver. No net. Like no net, no lighting, no, like, it's just, well, sure hope this works out. Into the pool with you, young lady. So, as far as a mean on for anyone, you know what? I'll go along with you guys, but I'm not even going to go along. I don't have an opinion on that. I've got no skin in this game. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the performances. And you know what? Jim and I are going to try and knock off a few Oscar Best Picture or Oscar-related films before. I'm not sure any of those are going to be included even then. Maybe Minari, which I had an opinion on for the Golden Globes, even though I hadn't seen it yet.
Definitely watch Minari. It's really good.
All right. Well, and actually, I'll ask you now, Shawn. Before we get into Best Supporting Actors, what is your, like? Is there any movie on this list that you hadn't seen? I think you're one of the hardest working reviewers of us all. Like in our
The Father. I have not seen The Father yet, and it's because Sony Pictures Classics barely sent out screeners for it. They just released it in theaters, so I haven't seen it.
Groovy, brother. All right, Best Supporting, and that's not to say, Cody, that you're lazy. I'm the laziest man here. but the amount of flicks you see, the product you put out on a regular basis, Shawn, it's very impressive.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Best Supporting Actor. And you know what, Cody? We'll go back to you. Why don't you give us your Best Supporting Actor? And here, let's bring him up here. We have, I got to get that voice down. We have, the nominees are actor in a supporting role, Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr., One Night in Miami, Paul Raci, Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah. I'm really kind of enjoying that. I'm gonna have music cued just for that. That's awesome. Okay. Take it away, brother.
Okay. Well, I mean, I did like Sacha Baron Cohen in Trial of Chicago 7. I thought I really enjoyed his performance. You know, those kind of comedic moments in there. Which were nice just because it was fun to see the judge character get pissed off at him because of that. Paul Raci, his performance stands out to me right now just because I actually just finally watched Sound of Metal a few hours ago, and I really enjoyed that movie. So I could see him maybe getting the supporting getting the award for supporting, but we'll see. But
Yep.
the one thing that I noticed is with Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield with Judas and the Black Messiah, wasn't one of those the main character of the movie, not a supporting character? So I still
That will be discussed regularly, apparently.
Mhm.
it's one of those
Throughout
movies
the
like
internets.
yeah, it's one of those movies I keep meaning to watch 'cause it's on HBO Max, so I have like no excuse. But yeah, I feel like one of them will most likely could have a good chance because they're both really good actors. As far as everything else goes, it's pretty much everybody except Leslie Odom Jr. in One Night in Miami. It's the only other one I haven't seen on this list, unfortunately, so I have no real opinion on that one. So yeah, but I do think I think there's a fairly reasonable chance for everybody on the list.
So you wouldn't actually, if you're putting your money, you'd want to spread your bets across the table.
Yeah, don't want to bet it all on black. Oh, sorry, that sounded racist. I apologize for that.
That's a not even a Freud. That's a slip, but I wouldn't even say a Freudian slip. Says the other white guy. Can we dig the hole any deeper? Anyway, continue.
So yeah, I feel like if any of them won, I'd be okay with any of them.
Yeah. Do you think was there anyone in there that's missing that you're like kind of,
I don't think so. I think they have a pretty good roster here as far as the best actor nominees. So yeah, I think everybody that is quote unquote worthy of the nomination is on this
the
list.
actress thing up forever. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, I was done with my thoughts.
Okay. With the nodding that Shawn was doing when I asked that question, let's move it over to Shawn then. Shawn, give us your take on the actor in the supporting role, best supporting actor, and who you like, who you don't like, and who your money's on.
Yeah, so I actually love all of these performances. I think everyone is deserving, maybe except Sacha Baron Cohen in The Trial of the
Really?
Chicago 7. Maybe a hot take, but that movie is such an ensemble piece that, yes, he stands out a little bit because has a little bit of a lighter tone to him. But to me, I would have loved to see Alan Kim here from Minari. The little boy, I think he was so good, and he just gave this incredible speech this last week for one of the award ceremonies. I think it was the Critics' Choice. But I would have loved to see him here.
Gotcha.
But I'm going to comment too on the Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya. That threw everybody off because everyone thought Lakeith was running for Best Actor. And
that's the word on the street, eh? Like that's what the studio was pushing.
Exactly. So that one just threw everybody's predictions off. Do I think he's deserving though? Yes, I do. I think Lakeith Stanfield is excellent in that film. I was so happy to see Paul Raci. I love Sound of Metal. It was one of my top 10 films of last year. And I think he's 100% deserving. And he's very much so a lesser known actor, though he's been around for quite some time. So I'm excited to see him get his dues. But I unfortunately don't think he's going to win. I think it's almost a complete lock that Daniel Kaluuya will win, and I think deservedly so.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you think that that is because Chadwick Boseman, in Best Actor, it's almost he's a lock because people would have loved to have voted for him there. Their votes are going to go to Chadwick Boseman. So, or does that, you think, factor in the calculation in this category at all?
No, I don't. I just think So I don't know. I think his performance was just it blew everyone
Just that
away.
good.
And I mean, the only thing is Fred Hampton was 21 years old when all of this happened, so he's much older than that. But besides that, he really just, I mean, he becomes Fred Hampton, and he just commands the screen, especially in the scenes when he's talking to the giant crowds. You can just see the actors are hanging on his every word. So yeah, I think it's because the performance is that good.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. For myself, guys, again, I've actually seen one of these films.
Whoa, what, really?
Yes.
Oh, I wonder which one.
The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yes.
No way. With both pissed me off, and for those who watched Jim and I show, you know what I was mad about. At the same time, I still thought it was a really solid film. And one of the things I appreciated the most out of the film, because I am not a fan of Sacha Baron Cohen. Not that I detest him or anything. It's just, I'm not, yeah, most of his jam is not my jam, you know? I just don't like him. But I'm sure he's a nice man and everything. But you know what I mean? Changed my mind in his performance here. Just actually seeing him and the way he... The performance there, it's like, oh, okay, this guy's got more than I've seen. He is more than I gave him credit for. And therefore, I was just like, okay, I got to give Sacha Baron Cohen another look. But that's all I've got here. Given what I've heard about the other things, Jim and I are actually going to be watching One Night in Miami for next week's show. Judas and the Black Messiah is on our... we're going to get it in list. We just couldn't get it in Canada in time because bullshit. The only thing as far as a wager goes, I would keep, you know what? I'm checking my bet here. My worry is like what you guys are talking about, like as far as Daniel Kaluuya goes. I think the whole Lakeith Stanfield, like there'll be a split vote here. That'd be my worry. And so, I'm unwilling to wager. What I will say though is there's not one here that I would be. I'm not even sure there's a snub here, Shawn, in that. I kind of get why the actors are like, we all know what Chadwick Boseman's gonna win, or there's my money for best actor, right?
I think you're jumping ahead there a little bit.
Yeah, calm down, Rob.
I know. I could see vote splitting. I'm unwilling to bet. I'm just gonna I'm gonna keep my money and let you guys wager. And there's no one here that it would bother me if they won. So there you go. Not really, no hot takes there. I'm playing it super safe. Folks, guess who's here?
Jim!
Mr. Jim Chavoyko, welcome.
And he's
First of all, I'd like to thank my parents who raised me. I'm gonna put that front and center there. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, I got all my Oscar gear up. So
okay, excellent. Welcome. Well, glad you made it so quickly, Jim. We've already done Best Supporting Actress, but we're just you'll be the last person to chime in on Best Supporting Actor. They are just a quick repeat here.
Sure.
Actor in a supporting role: Sacha Baron Cohen, The Trial of the Chicago 7. Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah. Leslie Odom Jr., One Night in Miami. Paul Raci, Sound of Metal. Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Good.
Anyway, Mr. Chavoyko.
Very solemn. Very solemn.
I want to be all snooty like they do at the Oscars.
Yeah, keep us those lovely pipes of yours.
I think Beyonce will win the Grammy. So yeah, I actually overheard a little bit of that. I just sort of came in from my other gig, but I too sort of am a little bit worried that, and this is a movie that's been on our in our scope for the last little bit.
Like since back in the
Judas
fall, Jim.
Oh yeah,
You've been
yeah.
looking forward to this.
Yeah. I thought it's time for his story, Fred Hampton's story, to be told. So I too, just pure pragmatic stuff. I too am worried that Lakeith and Daniel will split the vote, and somebody like Sacha Baron Cohen might come up the middle. But the other thing too, and we can get to this because you guys haven't done the Best Actor and Best Actress yet, right?
No, we have not. Yeah, the only thing you've missed is Best Supporting Actress, and if we've got time at the end of the show, we can include you. Like we'll get your takes on that. But right now, we'll just stick to our agenda. Got a pretty active chat going, so
yeah, I'll just say this for now, really quickly. Depending on how the Best Actor and Best Actress go, because those could both go to African American performers. I wonder if that's going to affect if people vote. I mean, just spitballing here, how they vote for the Best Supporting Actor. Do you know what I mean? Like
ticket splitting based on race.
Yeah, or guilt, or whatever. Oops, I just about knocked down my award. But yeah, so I sort of am a little worried about that, but whatever. It's a good list. Like a lot of these are sort of interesting. Yeah, I thought it was a good representation across the board.
So who you picking? Who, if you've got to put money on it, if you're putting your money on it, who is it?
My brain says Sacha Baron Cohen, just because he's fairly prominent. My heart is going for Daniel Kaluuya, though. So.
Okay, and any of those folks who you go, really them, or are they all? It's a solid list.
I'm not familiar with. I haven't seen Sound of Metal yet. That Paul Raci. I always like when somebody you don't expect to get an award gets a nomination. Like
so, nobody's bugging you.
No.
All right.
Nope.
Okie doke then. Jim, I'm just going to keep you on the screen.
Sure.
And actually, you know what? No, I am lying. I think it's time to catch up with the chat. We've got, especially as we have new people. Let's see what the chat hot takes are. We've got. We'll skip past the editorializing on my audio. I hope that it's now good. We got Crystal Parker going, "Hey, is that Crystal?" I just really want to know if that's like the Fonz. Hey. The Upside Dan, I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not, but he says, I think Ellen Burstyn should have been nominated over someone. I don't know who, but yeah. Oh, that doesn't sound like he's being facetious at all. Is Dan? Anyone want to take that one?
She was nominated for that Darren Aronofsky movie a few years back, wasn't she? So.
Yeah. That was.
Anyway, go ahead, Shawn.
Requiem of.
Oh no, you can go. I do have something to say about this, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to Jim quickly, not like you're not talking Requiem for a Dream, are you?
I think so. Was that Ellen Burstyn? Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. All right, Shawn. Comment.
I think that she 100% should be nominated here. I'm glad that Dan brought that up in the chat because I think that she was snubbed. What I think is that that movie is an extremely difficult watch, and the first 30 minutes, Ellen Burstyn is not in it. It is a one-take shot for the first 30 minutes, and something devastating happens after that 30 minutes.
What is the movie we're talking about for this year, though?
Pieces of a Woman.
Oh. Je comprends.
Who?
Je comprends. I understand.
Oh.
Je comprends.
But I have a feeling that people, the voters, I mean, they don't have to watch the movie if they don't want to. They're not forced to watch these films. I have a feeling a lot of these voters turned that movie off after that 30-minute mark because of how devastating it is and never saw her performance. So that's why I think that she's not here.
Okay. That's that's not a hot take. That's an interesting take.
Mm.
All right. Well, thanks for that. All right. Got some back. Dragon Movie Guy says, and she has not been ignored, DMG. She was nominated. So no one's ignoring her, although there's a few people who think, yeah, she shouldn't win. All right. Dragon Movie Guy also then comments further, Triple F, Maria Bakalova wins. Does she thank Rudy Giuliani?
I love that.
That's brilliant.
I suspect we should just be thankful that he didn't get a nomination, Giuliani, but that would be surprising.
He got a Razzie nomination, though.
Oh, he did?
For Best Supporting Actor.
Hot take! Well, apparently, though, Glenn Close also got a Razzie nomination for the role she's been nominated for.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not. It's just kind of entertaining, eh?
It is.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. We've got, and then I'm just going to. The Upside Dan does say he feels that Maria matched Sacha Baron Cohen's comedy. Actually, DMG does comment to the fact that comedies don't get the respect they deserve. As far as the Academy's concerned, well, we'll see. Then some back and forth chatter as everyone has their adventures, which is great. DMG comments, Lakeith and Daniel in supporting category, probably trying to avoid competing against Chadwick Boseman, who feels has it on lock.
That's
we
a good
could
one.
almost just kill the whole conversation.
Mm.
But we will still. Okay. Upside Down, yes for Kahlua. Ted Leroy or Leroy?
Leroy Jenkins.
Or
Yes.
Leroy. I would like to know which one it is. Is it Leroy, number 1, or Leroy, number 2, from Mr. Leroy/Leroy? Okay, Sasha's comedy is pretty obnoxious. I like it to a point, but it makes me squirm when his marks aren't with it. You know, a longer conversation, because, yeah, that's kind of the, are we punching up or are we punching down?
I mean, we've all seen
sometimes.
The Dictator, so
Yeah. But he does acknowledge that's maybe what he's trying to elicit. Here's a hot-ish take, or an opposing take on Lakeith Stanfield. Should win. He was brilliant in Sorry to Bother You. Which, you know what, DMG, I'm not even going to comment on this one right now, but I am going to bring it up when we talk about should we even care about award shows. Because I think this illustrates one of my points. But thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to... Oh, people are saying hello to Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah.
And
Hi, everyone.
Katie does have a question.
So
Is that creeper behind you from Metropolis?
Creeper. Both of these things, I actually had them higher so you could just see the dangling feet before I came on, so I thought I'd adjust that. But they're both like Party City or Dollar Store things that are, I think they're not listed as Academy Award or Oscar things, but they're award ceremony figures, generic, non-specific, not breaking any copyright, including this guy and that guy. So, yeah, we used to have a family get together on Oscar night, and we had all the props and stuff. So before COVID,
We did. Ted Leroy, I just wanted to comment to this quickly. Ted, I believe we've all seen the Trial of the Chicago 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We will, because we'll all speak to it when we're talking about Best Picture later in the show. We do have another couple of new people. First of all, let's say hello. Let's welcome Devin Milligan.
Woo, Devin!
And I can quickly answer to your questions. Great, Delvin. We're actually going to have a section in the middle of the show talking about snubs, our favorites. And that could be the snubs that we liked, and then the snubs we were like, kind of, well, why did that guy get snubbed? So we'll come back to this. Nocturnal Critic, a new person to the show. Welcome.
Woo! Nocturnal.
That's the sup. Pretty good there, baby. All right. Oh, and then Ted has corrected. Okay, it's Ted Leroy. Although he does get Leroy Jenkins all the time. His son's a former Marine, so he got it a lot more.
Yeah, I imagine.
And there's
Wow.
Ted. Here, I want to just a quick note before we get back to our agenda. This is one of the reasons why we have the best chat on the internet. Everybody giving each other love, especially as we get busy on screen. You know, sometimes you just can't keep up with the chat. The fact that everyone's having their own adventures and being cool and keeping it all to a dull roar. Thank you all very much. All right. We are now moving into the best actor. Best actor. Who wants to go first? Ooh, and while we do that, let's yes. Actor in a leading role. Nominees are Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, Stephen Yeun, Minari. Who's taking this one? Who's going first?
Well, I got it. Okay.
There we go. All right. Cody, testify, brother.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, just looking at the list alone, it's like, oh well, look at all the very strong talent we have here. This is it's quite the star-studded nominee list we've got this time around. Riz Ahmed, like I mentioned earlier, I just saw Sound of Metal for the first time, like maybe 6 hours ago. So his performance, of course, does stick out of my head quite a bit. I think it's also just I think that could be like maybe probably not a given, but I think he is a good competition. If he does win, that'd be a pretty cool surprise. Chadwick Boseman, I think our thoughts on that are pretty unanimous that he will most likely win the, posthumously. Posthumously? Yeah, that word. So, if he does, it'll be well-deserved, I think. Anthony Hopkins, The Father, I haven't seen that yet, so I can't really comment on his performance. Gary Oldman, great actor, but I don't think his performance in Mank necessarily dictates a winning Best Actor. And then Stephen Yeun, Minari, I apologize, but I haven't seen that movie yet. So I can't really talk about that one. But if either Riz Ahmed or more likely Chadwick Boseman won, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. And your money is on Chadwick, correct?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. All right. Not the first person to have said that tonight. Won't be the
It
last.
won't be the last one. Yeah.
All right. Shawn, what the heck?
I think
Shawn?
Jim wanted to go for, or
Oh.
Jim, did you
Oh,
want to go?
We've
Sure,
got it.
just because I got here late, so again, apologies, folks. Yeah, so
he's all delayed from work. Kind of going.
He's
I
here,
wasn't allowed
though.
to talk there. I want to talk now. God damn it! Listening to politicians is thirsty work.
Yeah.
The Academy, get off my grass. So apparently Riz Ahmed's the first actor of Muslim background ever to get a Best Actor nomination.
Really?
If you think back, Mahershala Ali, who won for Moonlight, that was Best Supporting. So this is the first, apparently not. I found that surprising too. And Stephen Yeun, any fans of The Walking Dead will think, good work, Glenn. That's sort of nice. nice little thing for their group. Gary Oldman's been nominated before. I noticed that Anthony Hopkins plays Anthony, so and you know, did you even rehearse any lines or you know have just bring your own clothes, Tony?
Don't call me Anthony. My name is Anthony.
Yeah, exactly. But Chadwick Boseman for me, yeah, that's
another hot take.
You know,
How can you tell I have a new toy?
It's gonna be like I'm gonna get a college football helmet, and every time I get one of those, I'm gonna have put a stamp, or you know, or like the fighter planes with the other planes that you've downed. Yeah, so I'm brain, heart, Chadwick Boseman.
Perfect. Well, no, perfect.
Unseen.
Great. Excellent. That's awesome, Jim. All right. What's the scoop there, brother? What's going on?
Okay, are you guys ready for some hot takes here?
Are you enjoying following Jim?
Yes, definitely. I definitely have some hot takes. So number one, Gary Oldman, I do not think should be here.
Okay.
I once again, I did not like that movie. And I think that out of all of his performances that he's given, this one's just so middle of the road. So I don't think he should be here. I think that there are two other actors who should have gotten his spot. One of which is Adarsh Gourav for The White Tiger, which is on Netflix. If you guys have not seen that film, it's amazing. And we aren't going to talk about screenplay, but it is nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Hot take.
Whoa, screenplays are important. What?
Continue.
Or Mads Mikkelsen, who is an incredible actor, for another round. I think he should absolutely be here. So Gary Oldman, I don't like that. I don't like that he's there.
Okay.
I love Steven Yeun being here. I think he absolutely deserves it. He's fantastic in Minari. And here's my other hot take. I love Chadwick Boseman, and I love his performance in that film. Do I think he deserves an Oscar? Yes. But if I were to choose today and it was just up to me, I would 100% choose Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal.
Wow. There you go. You know what? That's fantastic. I love the way, I love the fact, Shawn, that at no time have you let anything other than, here, I have seen a shit ton of movies and I've seen better performances. This is not, that's super cool. Now with your money though, you've got money you've got money on the table. Who's getting your money?
Oh, 100% Chadwick Boseman. He's running away with it. And like I said, yes, he deserves
He's got
it. But
loaded dice.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's going to win.
Yeah. That's an interesting, guys. I'm kind of curious what you guys think. There are times when, the actor gets here's the Attaboy Award, or we think they're going to get the Attaboy Award. It seems to be one of those areas where no one's going to resent it, although usually there's some criticism that comes with it. Do you think by the time the award comes around, assuming it's for Chadwick Boseman, that there will be, kind of that sort of, like there'll be people like you, Shawn, where you go, listen, if we were just talking the roles, it's a great role and he's a great actor, but there was better this year. Is it one thing, but then you get that kind of weird sort of, oh, well, they were just doing this. Do you think we'll hear that closer to the awards? And again, that's assuming that he wins, because it is a secret ballot. Everybody's making those weird calculations. It's not like the other producers aren't going to campaign for their film anyway.
I'm confused by your question. Is this regarding Chadwick Boseman?
Let me separate it. I think I put 4 questions. I'm like I'm the Spike Lee of question makers. stuffing everything I imaginably can. And then there you are, much like in a recent Spike Lee movie, going, what the can you give me a question?
Focus.
There's my hot take. Here's question one. Right now, everyone, I think everyone that's commenting on this kind of thing is assuming Chadwick Boseman's going to win, and no one is going, well, it doesn't seem fair. Like when the momentum, or when everyone was speculating Leonardo DiCaprio was going to win for The Revenant, no one was. There was a lot of, kind of pushback. It's like, well, if it was a fairer world, X would get it, but well, they snubbed him before, so now they've got to make up for that snub. There's that weird dynamic at the Oscars where they seem to be forever apologizing for a previous missing the play. So that's one question. Will that happen with Chadwick Boseman come the awards? Yeah, there you go. Will that happen with Chadwick Boseman come with awards? Or will they go, no, he passed away.
I think
criticize a great actor who passed away in a really good role, in a good performance.
I think that's what they're going to be saying. Is, not only did he pass away, which is horrible, and, he was literally just hitting his stride and, showing the world what he could do. And so, yes, it is so sad, but it's a mix of, it's a great performance and he also passed away. So it's like you feel obligated to give him the award.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's, Cody, Jim, would you agree with Sean's take on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, and a nice thing about the movie is that it's on Netflix, so it's available to anybody. You don't have to, so I think some of these people will be able to see, some of them won't. So I think it's accessibility plus performance plus, what he meant to everyone. I think he was sort of a generational talent as well. So I think it's just going to be, again, we could be wrong, but I think it's for my money, he's a shoe-in.
Well, that wasn't the question I was asking. It was more the reaction once he wins.
Yeah,
or,
no, I don't.
Do you know what I mean? And you don't think?
I don't think it's going to be like, well, somebody else should have won it, but it was his, year. I think genuinely, and from all that we've heard, that he it's a deserving. It's not like he did some, lame rom-com or something like that. It was a a worthy, and other people are nominated. A solid role. Viola Davis is nominated for it as well. So it's not just, they didn't just throw this one movie, this one nomination, right? So,
yeah. No, that makes sense. And Cody, would you got anything you want to add to that, or?
Yeah, I think just kind of what everybody's said at this point. It's just, one of those generational talent type things. It's kind of letting him be remembered in like the highest way possible that the Academy could possibly give him, with the Best Actor award, just like they did with Heath Ledger when he passed away for the Joker in The Dark Knight, that similar thing. And, I don't think anyone's going to be upset if/when he wins, just because of those reasons.
Oh, cool. All right. Okay, gentlemen, I think it is time to move on. For myself, before we move to Best Actress, myself, I'm just going to talk about my money. The money I didn't lose on Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, well, we had to.
I didn't bet. I did not wager. I was like, no, this is.
Yeah,
no one's giving me odds.
We'll change that.
I'm taking the money I saved that I didn't lose there, and I'm putting on safest bet here, Mr. Chadwick Boseman. I'm wondering, and even as I posed the question, I think it's a reasonable question to ask, but even as I pose it, and it's interesting, and the White Tigers on our list too. That just looked like a super cool movie. but I was also hoping maybe we could do something with Shashank on it, because
Mhm.
why wouldn't we? We have a man in Chennai.
Yes.
That said, guys, and I'm thinking, Shawn, I like the way you captured it. I like the way Jim captured it. And yeah, it's unlike Leonardo DiCaprio. It's shitting on a man in his grave. Who's gonna be that person? They can acknowledge maybe better performances or people who should have at least been on the list, but not. And as far as Gary Oldman, you know what? I've stayed away from that film. I will comment more when we talk about it, because I think it's also up for Best Picture, isn't it? Or is it? It is.
Director and picture.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I'll bring my eye roll gun to that table. All right. Okay, everyone. Now we're gonna wrap up performances with not Best Snub, Best Actress. Shawn, why don't you lead here? Why don't you tell us who your best, and then we'll jump back into the chat, because got an active chat and love to hear their opinion on some of our hot takes, and let's hear theirs. But first of all, Shawn, give us lay down actress in a leading role. Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Oh, sorry about that. Not even following my own goddamn agenda. Actress in a leading role. Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday. Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman. Frances McDormand, Nomadland. Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman.
So there are no surprises here.
My stock music and your cue came at the perfect time.
That was good.
Go ahead. No surprises.
It was pretty good. There are no surprises here. These are the same actresses who were nominated at the Globes. But we all know that Miss Andra Day won for The United States versus Billie Holiday at the Globes. I do not think that's going to happen at the Oscars. Her performance is great in the movie, but it is a horrible movie. So I don't think that they're going to give her... I don't think that's going to happen. Personally, I think all four of the other actresses are incredible. I don't know who is going to win. I think that Vanessa Kirby is a real long shot, even though I would personally say that's who I would nominate to win. I think that's a masterclass in acting that she gives in Pieces of a Woman. So that would be my choice. But, Carey Mulligan, Viola Davis, or Frances McDormand, I have no idea who's going to win.
So are you saving your betting? It sounds like you're saving your wagering money. You've got your love, though, is for Vanessa Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
If you were voting Vanessa Kirby,
yes.
If you're betting, you're saving your money because it's just too tough to call.
It is. Right now, I would say Carey Mulligan.
We do this next year, folks. I'm basically talking about it like a casino. Okay, sorry, Vanessa Kirby.
No, I'm gonna say if I had to choose, like if you put a knife to my throat, I would say okay, Carey Mulligan. But Frances McDormand just recently won, so maybe that's the only reason why they wouldn't choose her. Viola Davis as well, but that was for Best Supporting Actress. So Carey Mulligan's been nominated and never won before. So if I had to choose, I would say that she would be taking it home, and she deserves it.
Slight odds, maybe not even, but better odds than the others.
Exactly.
Gotcha. All right, Cody.
Okay. So, I will just like Best Acting Leading Role. It's all filled to the brim with very talented women in this category, and the only two that I have particularly strong positive feelings for performance-wise are excuse me, Frances McDormand in Nomadland and Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman, a movie that I've mentioned like every effing time I've been on this show for like the last like month and a half. So people are like, shut the fuck up. But you know, it's true. I really enjoyed that movie. So unfortunately, the other three I have yet to watch. I keep meaning to, but my Netflix has been a pain in the butt lately. It's not been wanting to work for me for whatever reason. So I'm a little behind. If you couldn't tell. But yeah, I mean, Frances McDormand, Carey Mulligan, I think they both give strong performances in really strong movies as well. If I had to bet, I would like to see Carey Mulligan win just because, you know, her performance is fantastic in that movie, and just watching her character's journey as she's, you know, trying to do what she's trying to do. I don't want to get into too much detail in case nobody's seen it, especially towards the very end. It's like, whoa. Frances McDormand, you know, she's an incredible talent, and, you know, as much as I enjoyed Nomadland and her performance in that movie, she definitely would be second place, in my opinion, under Carey Mulligan, just because Carey Mulligan's performance just stands out more to me.
All right. Cool beans. All right, thanks for that. So it sounds like you are giving a slight. You want Carey Mulligan. That's your long shot. That's the. But you're also giving it a slight edge as far as who might win.
Yep, I'm going to bet 2 sinus pills on Carey Mulligan, and then everything left goes on to Frances McDormand.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. On that note, Jim, why don't you finish us off here?
Sure. I had Viola Davis winning the Golden Globe, and that went to Andra Day. I'll stick with Viola Davis. I think she's sort of becoming prominent, even though she's won recently. If somebody else had to win, I've been a fan of Carey Mulligan since she did that Doctor Who episode that I've spoken about before, which is one of the best David Tennant Doctor Who episodes. I think Vanessa Kirby, I was looking at her career. She's largely a theater actress, which I think speaks to her chops, maybe, you know, why she turned in such a impressive performance. And Frances McDormand, it's an interesting exercise. If you get a chance to watch Mississippi Burning, she actually plays a meek kind of wife / town cutie pie, and totally different than the characters that she's played in the last 20 years. So it's a little bit of a mind blow. But anyway, Viola Davis we'll go with as my head and my heart.
Head and heart. Okay. Well, fantastic. All right. Is there anyone, let me ask you guys this. Is there anyone missing? Is there somebody? Oh. Anyone? I
think he's got some dad.
Anyone? I'm just effing with you, man. Shawn, who do you think should have been on the list? And is there anyone on the list you'd take off? Like, would you move some of the boxcars on the nomination train around? Would some be left in the yard as the others go to nomination town?
Yeah, I mean,
so many bad analogies.
This was going to be like my major snub that I was going to bring up, but I have more. But I was campaigning. I was putting hashtags all around town with this, but I was dedicated to this. But I would have loved to see Rosamund Pike be nominated for Best Actress for I Care a Lot. That performance is incredible. She's taking what she did in Gone Girl and putting a comedic spin on it, a darkly comedic spin, but I think she just is, I love that movie. I love that performance. So I would knock Andra Day out from the United States versus Billie Holiday, not because I don't like her performance. I don't like that film, and I think Rosamund Pike should be there. And she won the Golden Globe, but in the comedic musical category.
Cool. All right. Well, that's anyone else? Anyone else got one of those faves outside of the nominations that you really thought should have been on the list? And you don't have to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just an interesting exercise to compare what the Golden Globes nominated and what the Oscars nominated, because Jodie Foster, of course, also won for the Mauritanian. I think it was supporting, though, and she's nowhere to be found here. So, and then Maria Bakalova, I think she was in the actress category of comedy or musical, and she's supporting here. So, I took a look at both. I thought, I'll see what's different, and there are quite a number of interesting differences.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, on that note, for myself, this is one I have. Yeah, I'm saving my hot takes for later subjects, including this next one, but where we will get into my invented category, Best Snub. But first, I think we should, folks, let's catch up with the chat. It's been a while. Let's see what's going on in there. All right. First, I like the Upside Down says, I almost watched Sound of Metal. I almost did my homework. I almost did it. I will soon. Honest, teacher. All right, enough to shamelessly picking on a great guy and a great friend of the show.
Teacher, the dog ate Sound of Metal.
I lost my Netflix password. My cousin changed the Netflix password. All right. First of all, let us welcome our good friend Ahmed, Jelly Duck 100, JDK 100. Woo! Good to see you here, man. And then he says, never watched the Grammy Awards. I have no idea. Don't know which one is Best Actors. You know what? That's why you come to us, Jelly Duck. You know what? That's why we reached out to these folks, you know what, to bring you the best opinions on this stuff. Honest. The best opinions you don't have to pay for. But for Smart Remarks aside, good to see you here, man. Okay, all right, another person who hasn't done his homework, but he does comment on Riz Ahmed's standout in Rogue One. And that, he delivered. He was part of what made that movie different. Whether you like it or not, you know, you're not. That's a good comment. Okay, Upside Down is with Chadwick Boseman. Deserves it, but also everyone. Like, there's no bums on the best list.
Oh my God.
Ted Leroy loves my reverb on the hot takes.
Yeah, someone's gonna take that away
Which
from you.
Which ironically could be a hot take itself.
Never.
Yes.
Okay, John Willig. First of all, let's welcome Mr. Willig to the show.
Woo! Mr. Willig.
Welcome, John. John says Stephen Yeun is the first Asian American to be nominated for Best Actor, which is quite the accomplishment. And is it Best Actor?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm
yeah.
I read the list. You know what? You know why? I haven't seen Minari, so these names aren't burned in my brain. I can't attach them to a performance, but it's something that hopefully we'll fix before the Oscars. Apparently, I haven't done a lot of my homework either. Like that teacher is like barely studied for the lesson.
Apparently, only this one has anyway, so you know.
No, Cody, you have.
I know, but you're
Cody, you did good.
You
did good, Cody.
So, you know.
Yeah, Cody's done fine. And it's we all look lazy compared to Shawn.
No.
All right.
Shawn's actually recording a review while we do this, I think.
Oh, how'd you know, Jim?
He's got
Every
the
time he
turner
looks
from Harry
away,
Potter
he's like,
going on here.
"Oh, He's working on his script. He's got another movie going on. It's why he's not wearing headphones for us. There's actually like those see-through earpieces while he's listening to another flick.
He's even pooping
exactly.
Oh my god.
Pretty soon they're on to me. Technical difficulties. All right. DMG, you know what? DMG, let's hold until we talk about Best Picture on this comment. And then wonderful the Upside Down, more not doing his homework.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what though, Dan? If you get this homework done, Jim and I are watching it, and I think it's coming up on April 4th for us, right, Jim? If memory serves.
I think so,
we
yeah.
already have this on our list. And I think we also got the Wolfwalkers.
Yes. Oh, that movie's so good.
Great compliment from John to Shawn
Looking forward
about
to
how he knows when actors are given their best. And yeah, couldn't agree more with you there, John. Upside Down, back to Chadwick. Yes, agree. Oh, now here's an interesting comment, and I think half facetious but half serious. DMG says, when they pass away, it's sort of a lifetime achievement award too. The impact he had with the phrase Wakanda Forever has bled its way into pop culture. Heck, I even got a chill just reading it out, and will never be uttered by him again. And yeah, like that's an interesting conversation maybe we can have at a later date about, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to pin this and let's bring it back when we talk about the validity of these award shows. You know, because I think we can comment more to what DMG said. More not done homework.
Dan.
Dan, you have detention.
Says the guy who hasn't seen half of them either. So who the hell am I?
I saw a couple of them. Okay, so shut
up.
Hey, it's been a very busy SpongeBob month, so don't get off Cody's back.
Very true.
John Willig makes an interesting comment regarding Leonardo DiCaprio versus Chadwick. So and yeah, it's an interesting take on how they may not feel the need to give him the win when they can give it to a living actor. Yeah, that
you could
is
argue
an interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Well, I guess we'll wait. You never know. Secret ballot. We don't even know the totals, but that could be a narrative if he doesn't win. You know, great point, John. Okay. Oh my goodness. Have I missed Shashank?
Shashank!
He's here, and I missed his comment because apparently I'm a big schmuck.
All right. Time you showed up.
All right. The Upside Down. Oh, you know what? I don't think Shashank's here. I think I mentioned him.
No, he's
and
here.
DMJ, again, a friend of the show, knows our shtick.
No, I think I saw.
No.
I think he's here. I think.
Okay.
I can see a comment of his right now.
Back.
Okay, all right. And I just missed it because I'm a terrible human being. All right. My apologies, Shashank. If it's something that we need to speak to, please put it back in again, and I'll see it the next time. All right. Okay, where are we? Moving ahead. Okay. Well, again, I'm gonna thank DMJ for bringing that up. Otherwise, we would have missed it. Okay. The Upside Down, commenting on Best Actress, Viola Davis, Vanessa Kirby, or Carey Mulligan are my picks. So this is like I picked 60% of the table. Francis McDormand.
Love you, Dan.
Mind you, though, we're kind of doing a wagering thing. Like, yeah. Red, black.
Gray.
Francis McDormand, though, he's got a strong, and yeah, sometimes it works out that way where you have a stronger opinion about the weakest role, you know, or what you think is the weakest. And he says, Francis McDormand was great, but I just don't love that movie like I do the others.
Yep.
Oops. would it be a movie talking about actors and actresses, or let's just call them all actors? We are moving into a non-binary, gender fluid world. Let's just all call them actors for now. Frances McDormand, is it a thing about actors if somebody isn't referred to as a national treasure?
Yes.
A national treasure.
Yes.
And Cody's like, somebody take the button away from him.
I know where you live.
Yes. Well, you know where Jim lives.
I mean, how hard could it be to find from there? I mean,
Yeah. DMG says Carrie Mulligan is the indie darling. Feels like it's her turn to win. Oh, I'm getting some love from Katie Fowler. I do have the best analogies. Or at least have the most. I have some entertaining analogies. I think I can. I think we can save that. We got another person new in the chat. Ms. Jackie Billings. Hello, Jackie.
Woo!
And I think this is a reference relevant to what you're talking about, Rosamund Pike, Shawn.
Mm-hmm.
She says loves Gone Girl, who and Rosamund Pike, of course, was the standout performance. Jim,
Oh yeah.
you're
A movie
waving?
in which they mentioned the city of Winnipeg
Really?
when they were who did she sort of bump into in another place? And she said, and they were pretending to be another couple, and they said, "Hey, where are you folks from?" And is Neil Patrick Harris in that? I want to say Neil Patrick Harris. Anyway, he said, "We're from Winnipeg." It was like a cover. But yeah, they mentioned Winnipeg.
That's awesome. And also kind of shows to our everyone picks it, runs down their hometown, while at the same time being weirdly kind of noting every time it's referred to in some larger pop culture sense.
Yes.
The
best one is The Simpsons. That's it, kids. Back to Winnipeg.
Okay. You know what, folks? I am going to and then Dan promising he'll do his homework for Wolfwalkers. Okay.
No TV until you can. Wait.
I think I'm going to have to stop it here for now on one last compliment for a good friend, Shawn. The movie knowledge, GOAT.
What is that?
Greatest of all time.
Oh,
Which,
nice.
Already I'm like kind of, why not? Why does no one say greatest to date? Because tomorrow, is the greatest of all time, has been referred to in every sports year ever about people we have all forgotten about. Perhaps in our own lifetimes. Never mind all time. Sorry, enough of that. Okay. Let's talk about what may be my new favorite topic. And just so you guys know that just so you get an idea of, at least on one end, how we can look at this, I will start it off, if that's cool with you, as far as best snub.
Sure.
I am going to take the obvious angle, and I am going with the snub that I think was this. They were snubbed, and they were snubbed rightly so.
Oh, I know what's coming.
Uh-oh.
Da Five Bloods, Spike Lee, Delroy Lindo. That was not a good movie. That was not a great performance. And yes, because it's a Spike Lee movie, you can't blame the studio for that. I'm not going to say train wreck, but that not good movie. And that's Spike Lee. So yeah, I know people are saying snub. A lot of people are. But there is a reason we haven't been talking about it for months. And what an amazing flick, and just assuming it. It's not. I mean, I will put somewhere here, folks. Probably, here, a card to when Jim and I did the show on Da Five Bloods. But yeah, that's my Hot take.
Ah!
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't, like, I felt in the Golden Globes before I created this thing, I thought Minari was horribly and almost racistly snubbed by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association by kind of sticking the film, which is an American film, in foreign. Like, and yes, it was foreign language, but still. But here, this is I'm taking this as the snub. You guys can do whatever the heck you want. But I'm taking the, yeah, I'm okay with the snub. Shawn, with your permission, I'm gonna, like, you're like the cleanup hitter in this area, especially as you've watched everything. So with your permission, I'm gonna save you to last. I'm gonna throw up Mr. Brockopp first, if that's cool. What's your best snub? Positive,
Okay.
negative. Give us the hot take.
Okay, as far as snubs go, the ones I'm like, why were these things not nominated, were in categories that we're not discussing tonight, but I'm going to bring up anyway because, yeah.
Because you're
So-
doing that.
Yeah, because I'm a big boy and I do what I want. Okay, so
He's gone rogue.
Rogue away, brother.
okay, so first of all,
Note, I have my hand on the hot take dial.
oh yeah, do it. I fucking dare you, man, do it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I want to hear the take first.
Okay, so when it comes to Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie, I'm not super surprised it didn't get a Best Picture nominee, but how in the hell did it not at least get a Best Soundtrack nominee for Ludwig Göransson's score? Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't think of too many other noteworthy scores, unfortunately. So why was that not nominated?
I can't even throw a hot take on that. You make a good point there, man. Okay.
Damn it.
That,
Okay,
that may be in there as a bit of a snub. Sorry,
Okay.
continue.
And then just one movie that in general I think got snubbed in a couple of categories, and I feel like people just for some reason aren't talking about anymore, is The Invisible Man. I feel like some people, because not only was it a really good movie, but I feel like it could have at least been a decent contender for best visual effects, because it's not a VFX heavy movie, but the way the movie utilizes VFX, like that one scene where she's up in the attic and throws the paint on the Invisible Man and, you know, it just covers him in that weird way with the sound design, like, that's a really good effect there. And, you know, all the wire work and green screen that they had to do to, you know, yank, for some reason the actress name is escaping me right now. But, you know, all of that kind of stuff, it's like, you know, there have been award nominations and winners that, you know, they weren't maybe the most giant VFX spectacle ever, but I feel like that could have at least warranted a VFX nomination, and maybe also in editing as well, because it does a good job of using jump scares, but not in the usual, oh, blam, scary thing pops up, you know, especially in the very beginning of the movie. And, you know, it just kind of feels like it's one of those movies that almost feels like it came and went a little bit, or people just kind of forgot it came out, but, yeah, that's...
It came out in the before times. That's going to be part of it, eh?
Well, right before the before times,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's a fantastic movie and deserved a little bit more love. I know it's a horror film, and you know those in comedies don't get the recognition they deserve usually with the Oscars, but you know, I feel like there was just some little extra special there.
No, that's heck. I don't. I would you agree with me, guys? I don't think there's a hot take in there. I think that's all pretty solid. Especially when I'm looking at Cody, the folks that were nominated for original score, Da 5 Bloods. Well, you heard my rambling on that already. Mank, Minari, News of the World, Soul. Like, yeah, you could bump some of these. Even Soul, like, I mean, it's almost on the nose. Yeah, the music's good, but does it truly move you in that film? I think it was just a very competently done score in what was a good movie, you know. But oh, go ahead.
Sorry, okay, yeah, sorry to cut you off there, but you did mention News of the World. It's like I saw that movie and I really enjoyed it, but best original score,
Another one you could see getting bumped out for Tenet.
Yeah, swap that out for Tenet, and that would be a lot more pleasant, I guess.
Cool. All right. No, gents, anything you want to comment as far as what Cody's brought up, or I mean, he did bring up a bunch of.
Huh?
Oh,
Jim, you want to go first?
Well, I was going to say that big fan of Ludwig Göransson, and he's also the one that did the Mandalorian soundtrack that I love too. So, and Terrence, even not to pile on to Five Bloods, but
pile away.
No,
that movie deserves a pile on.
I thought Delroy Lindo was cool.
Well, he should have done the score.
He's cool too.
He should have done the score because I thought the score was not very good. No, I'm just kidding. But Terrence Blanchard, I remember the score also not being all that, like a bit irritating. Like he had all the heraldic trumpets.
That was a hot take.
We're just going to rename this live stream, aren't we? The hot take live stream. But
I'd be down with that. A weekly just hot takes on movies.
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay. Sorry, Jim. Continue.
No, have it like a 30-second podcast. Smokey and the Bandit's the best movie ever. Hot take. I'm out of here. But
no.
Ludwig
See
Göransson.
if I can
Anyway,
drag out the hot take longer than the actual hot take.
Some of the names on this, and Gary Oldman's been here before. James Newton Howard's been here before, all that kind of thing. So, it's nice to see newer names. And Ludwig Göransson, I think he might have been nominated, but him instead of maybe James Newton Howard or Terrence Blanchard or what have you. But yeah, great point by Cody. I sort of overlooked it myself. Okay.
Is there anything quick you wanted to add to that, Shawn, before we get to Jim's, or do you want to do it when you're talking about your stuff?
I really quickly want to talk about what Cody was talking about. I completely agree with you, Cody. Not only on the score for Tenet, which to me was one of the best scores of the year, the most memorable. I don't understand what happened there. And then also, I think Invisible Man should have gotten VFX. And not only that, the VFX are amazing, but on such a small budget. That movie was made for like $5 million or something crazy like that. So that should 100% be there. And as much as I love Love and Monsters, I think, where's the Invisible Man?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
There we go. All right. Well, on that wonderful agreement, love how we all came together. Thanks for that, Cody. Jim, throw what's your best snub? The best snub.
I thought I'd do something, not mention what these guys had mentioned or talk about something else that we've talked about already, but the Best Picture category only has 8 nominees, and they can have up to 9. And would it really have killed the Academy to put another name in there? You just maybe a young filmmaker, or maybe what was everything else tied for 10th? Like there must have been a 9th movie, to that end, you could add something light and fun like Palm Springs, which a lot of people liked, which had a number of Golden Globe nominees. That not the most not the most profound movie ever, but a really good movie and enjoyable. I'm gonna say
Hack
though,
Bank got a nomination.
There you go. And now I'm gonna pick one that actually people were talking about last year, sort of towards the end of the year, and a lot of people mentioned the movie First Cow, and it's only just come up here, so I plan on watching it. We may want to discuss putting it
on our list
at some point. But it was one that a lot of people were charmed by and thought was very worthy of being nominated, and it didn't get, I don't think, any nominations. I might be wrong about that, but yeah, choose a 9th, guys. You You know, that would do
Mhm.
to somebody's career. They'd be able to put it on their CV. You know, it's a bragging point. It'd be a showcase. There's no reason not to have a ninth movie up there. So I found that really puzzling. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my
Great.
snub.
Another great point. No hot take there.
I mean, these are all for promotion, right? Like, it's to promote the movie industry. So use that ninth nomination to promote another movie. You know, it's kind of a simple equation, I would think.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. Guys, given that we are into the snub world and everything, I thought maybe a quick dip into the chat, see what the best chat on the internet is contributed on this subject before we get to our the best director and best picture. That cool with you? If we just do a quick visit in there, see what else they're doing. All right. Yes, you are Shashank, and it is good to see you.
Mhm.
All right, my friend. Talking about the Five Bloods. I love it when somebody agrees with me. I have no problem giving all kinds of time here. Never go harsh on movies, but that one was a stinker. The Five Bloods. Oh, the Five Bloods.
More
All
like
right.
the Five Butts. Oh.
Oh, zing. Now that deserves hot take.
All right, I deserve that.
You do, but as an honorific, as praise. All right. Oh, here's
Jelly Duck like it.
Yeah. Yep. DMG says Kingsley Ben Adir was overlooked so bad he's serving up sandwiches at his own Snubway.
That was good.
I need a rip. I need a no. I need a better effect. I need a better effect for that awesome that zinger.
Just get
Right
an
on,
audience
man.
laugh track going.
That was a good one.
Katie Fowler apparently did pick my snub of the Oscars. And he's talking about his performance, of course, in One Night in Miami. Ted Leroy's gotta go. He is in Eastern time. Ted, you and I are catching up tomorrow to talk about live stream in a more general sense. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much for popping in. Upside Down agrees about the Tenet score. And again, best chat in the internet, saying goodbye because they're all classy. Classy. And
That me. That me.
That's me.
And everyone commenting on Cody's mic technique. All right.
We should also mention at this point that Upside Down has 98 subscribers. So if we could
so close.
Let's
help them out.
Folks,
Yes.
come on. There's got to be somebody out
Pump
here.
it up.
Let's
gotta be
get
two
them over
people.
the
Come
top.
on.
We need two more. Two
The
more
Upside
from the
Down,
Upside
baby.
Down. Great note. Thanks very much, Jim. All right. What do we have? Okay, he agrees regarding the Invisible Man and that it could have gotten something.
Mhm.
And
But
I
it
do
didn't.
though. I think we think of that early in the year as like a whole other world. Whereas I'm still shocked that I Care a Lot is considered a 2020 movie. I'm like, didn't that just come out? Like, I'm sure they jammed it into 3 theaters in December in a brief window when they're saying COVID won't get us ill in Christmas. But anyway, what else do we got here? Shashank says, I've seen very few movies come out here. The Five Bloods, Greyhound, One Night in Miami, Mank, Outside the Wire. Outside the Wire. Oh, ooh. I won't make a hot take about that, but I am going, ooh. I watched maybe 10 minutes of that. I don't think I made
That
10
one?
minutes.
Why?
that?
What's so wrong with it?
What's that one? Remind me.
Outside the Wire, kind of a sci-fi thing, guys flying a drone. Then he gets sent to some secret base with whose buddy he plays.
Anthony Mackie from the MCU.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. What is this? The Hawk? Is he the Hawk?
He's
Yeah.
The Hawk
Falcon.
and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon. Yeah, he's the
Falcon,
Falcon
thank
and
you.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Some raptor,
Some
some flying
bird.
raptor.
Is he a hoary
Not as
red
stupid
bull,
as
or
yeah, not as stupid as an owl.
is he the
Robin?
double-breasted cormorants? Or anyway,
Yeah. Okay. Here's another interesting comment regarding your hot take, your snub. Cody says, "Don't know if Mulan should be under visual effects. The costume design more, but you know what? It was wire work we've all seen. Like we've seen great wire work. Like it's
And it was
not
also
like
Mulan.
you know." Well, absolutely. But I'm just even saying, let's say if you can kind of go, okay, the movie doesn't deserve it, but performance deserves it, or like, what did they do that was pushing any envelope? There's been bigger set pieces out of Chinese films, especially Chinese films, where it's like, so it doesn't even look like they were doing that. It's wire work, but
Yeah.
been great wire work. Like, you know, there's something when you see a movie and you kind of go, well, I'm not going to praise something I expect. I expect good wire work now. You know, something back in the 90s, you know, or when did, I think that was the aughts when Crouching
Tiger,
Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you know, that was like, especially to Western audiences, like to North American audiences, like, what? He's walking up the wall. You know?
yeah,
No, now they're running and they're bouncing and they're dancing. And it's like, yeah, 20 fucking years later, it's like, well, okay, you did wire work. Good for you. All right. Richard chimes in here. First Cow was good, but didn't blow me over. I thought Meek's Cut Off a much stronger Kelly Reichardt movie. And also really kind of a bummer of a movie. Jeez.
isn't that the Oregon Trail movie? Everyone dies of dysentery in the end. So. Spoiler alert.
You died of dysentery.
That's a old, like, from our 8-bit video game gag.
Beep, burp, burp.
All right. Oh, look at this. And then, of course, one more zinger. One more zing from the DMG. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie guy.
Oh, wow.
CTHDMG. Yeah, it's now starting to sound like a military thing or something that's said by a doctor to another doctor while you're on the table. Okay. All right, folks, let's move forward. I think it is time to, no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Oh, we're moving into best director country, but
Rob, I
it
think
looks
you forgot
like
somebody.
Sean. I'm watching. Let me finish. Jesus Christ. It looks like Sean has something to say. Sean has a comment.
I didn't get to do snubs.
I thought you did get to do snubs. Did I
No.
cut you off of snubs?
Yeah.
I did cut you off of snubs.
Yeah.
Snub
Thanks,
away,
Rob.
my friend. My apologies. I can't believe
Which is a snub in itself.
I snubbed. Exactly. I literally snubbed
You snubbed
him.
me, Rob.
Snubbed him during the
How
category
could you
best
betray me like
snubs.
this?
My
You know what?
grandmother snubbed me once.
Give me that trophy. Give me that trophy, Jim. I should win the best snub. I and the winner of best snub for the 93rd Oscars nomination chat show. All right. Give us your takes, man.
Lost it.
I wanted to comment really quickly on what Jim had to say because I completely agree with him. This is actually the last year that they can pick between 5 and 10 nominees, starting with next year's Oscars. Best Picture will always be 10 nominees.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's interesting.
Mhm.
Good to know.
And Rob, I knew you were going to pick Da 5 Bloods. And I would agree with you on film, like Best Picture and Best Director, but I'm going to push back on Delroy Lindo a little bit.
Okay.
I think Delroy gave a great performance in that movie. I think he's the best part of the movie. And I'm not going to lie, I would have rather seen Delroy Lindo here than Gary Oldman.
All right.
Finally, someone
Yeah.
who speaks quality logic words.
Well, I'll speak to that once. But first of all, is that your only? I don't think it is. Like, I mean, you've got to have some.
I do.
Okay, then continue.
But most of them are going to come up in director and picture, so I'll wait on that. But
Oh, okay.
I think Best Original Screenplay, Palm Springs, I think, could have been a really great choice for Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very unique take on the Groundhog Day formula.
Yeah.
And then also Dominique Fishback, who was amazing, the heart of Judas and the Black Messiah. I think she definitely could have been in there for Best Supporting Actress and deserved to be there. And then I completely agree with Dragon Movie Guy. Kingsley Ben-Adir he also should have been in Best Actor over Gary Oldman. So those are my hot takes for now.
Boy, the Gary Oldman is Da 5 Bloods. Gary Oldman is to you Da 5 Bloods to me.
Mank.
and all
Mank
its
is to me the 5 Bloods.
Or,
Yeah.
Mank, thank you. My apologies. Yeah. And I'm not, you know what, I'm pulling that. I'm not going to speak to it as far as, we don't have to agree here. And if you think it was a great role, that's fantastic. And like I said, Jim and I did a whole show where we made fun of Delroy Lindo and his performance. Well, and not of Delroy Lindo, but definitely of his performance. And I would, if people want to see that, again, I'll have a link to it there, or I'll pin it in a comment. But Shawn, did you? I'm assuming you reviewed Da 5 Bloods.
I did not.
Oh.
Yeah, I took like a little break. I took a little break in between when I first started, and then I came back. But I took like a month or two break, and that was when Da 5 Bloods came out. So,
well, I'll tell you what. Once you review it, once you actually put your credibility on the line, but smart remarks aside, if you ever do like review it, because we're all doing that now, right? We take, you know what? It's not like it used to be where you had to review it the weekend of. Because I don't think people are watching this stuff like they used to.
No.
You know, the review and the commentary and the discussion of the film is as much part of the entertainment as the film is. I mean, it's basically Jim and I's whole shtick. We want people to have seen the film and then talk to join the conversation. So if when you do, send me the link and I'll pin it in this, so if somebody's looking this at a later date, then I'm pointing down now saying there may be a pinned comment with the link to Shawn's alleged review of Da 5 Bloods. Okay. All right. But otherwise, you're good, Shawn. The rest you're saving for Best Director, etc.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Whoops. I keep wanting to talk about that. All right.
Yes,
Best
you
Director. Best Director. Just a second here. All righty. Best Director. Directing nominees are Thomas Vinterberg, Another Round. Mank, or David Fincher for Mank. Lee Isaac Chung, Minari. Chloe Zhao, Nomadland. Emerald Fennell, Promising Young Woman. Let's why don't we start with you, sir? Shawn?
Okay.
Why don't you lead off? Because you've got the snubs. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, really quickly, I just want to say thank you, Rob, thank you, Jim, for bringing up the Upside Down because he now has 100 subscribers. So
I saw that, yeah.
Woo! Dan's catching up.
That is fan-effing-tastic.
it's amazing.
That is great. Look at that. We can even see it.
And it,
Woo!
Woo!
So happy.
Triple digits.
three figures, baby.
That is absolutely wonderful. Well, that's fantastic, and I'm so Jim, props to you for bringing it up, and so proud that it happened on our show with
Yes.
Yes, once again, we do have the best chat on the internet. Okay. Take it away, Shawn. Best director, where are you coming from on this?
Oh, I love this.
Well, you're giving me the impression you have a rather strong opinion on the subject.
I do. I'm very, very excited for Thomas Vinterberg. I really, really liked Another Round, but he has another film with Mads Mikkelsen that came out maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. It's called The Hunt. And that movie is incredible. And I was hoping that he'd be nominated there. But because he is an international director, very rarely do they, honor them for director. So I'm very excited to see Thomas Vinterberg here. And then David Fincher, I love David Fincher, but I don't like that movie.
I enjoyed
Lee Isaac Chung, amazing that he's here for Minari. I think he absolutely deserves it. And Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. I gave out a little girly scream when I read that she was nominated. Very, very excited for her. 100% deserves it. And then Chloe Zhao, of course, who is going to win. There is no world in which she does not win.
Really? That's your money.
World.
All of your chips are on Miss Zhao.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, take everything.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. So heart is to Emerald Fennell, though, it sounds like, correct?
Definitely my heart is to Emerald Fennell. But what I do want to bring up here that's very interesting is almost everybody said 100% for sure that Aaron Sorkin was going to be nominated for Best Director for Trial of Chicago 7, and that didn't happen. So I think that its chances of winning Best Picture have dropped significantly now because of that.
Well, you know what? Let's pin that comment, and we'll discuss it further, like when we talk about Best Picture. But that's a great note. Okay, who's next? Jim, you want to go next?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm with Shawn there. I think Chloe Zhao will take it. She's got a bit of momentum. And also I think more people are seeing Nomadland because of the people who are given screeners, they've all seen it, that kind of thing. But there's something to be said for the buzz that a certain movie sets off. So I think Nomadland is in a good place. Fincher's been there before. Emerald Fennell, it's so that a working actor, working director, she's currently doing both, which is, I guess, in the same calendar year. But I sort of do wonder how much of this was impacted by the Golden Globes, if at all. I'm not saying that it's but so I'm going with Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Good woman, great visibility. Frances McDormand is attached. It's got a lot of good buzz.
Cool. All right,
And
so wagers on Chloe Zhao. No, otherwise, it doesn't sound like your heart is set on your hearts for anyone else.
No, I'm just looking at this now. It's a neat mix of people. Like, it's not all just a white studio dudes, but it's a comedy and old and older and young. You got some veteran people in here and some people that are fairly new to the scene. We've talked, I think, before on the show about how many Mexican directors. Like, I don't think American directors won in about 10 years last time I checked. But, you know, he had a whole slate of Mexican directors, Korean director last year, you know, and it's been a while. Actually, I think there was a British guy who won.
Tom Hooper.
Was it for Atonement?
King's Speech.
No.
King's Speech.
King's Speech. That's right. Sorry. Yeah. I did. Yeah. Atonement didn't. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's just a really nice mix. Neat, interesting mix.
Cool. All right. Okay. Thanks, Cody. This is almost like a 4 up, 4 down operation.
Yeah. Thanks for not forgetting about me.
Yeah.
Well,
Zing.
okay. It's as opposed to Shawn, who had pretty much a comment throughout the whole thing. No one could be, you know, shocked. It's like, oh, we did? Anyway, there's my pushback.
Okay, so
There's
just
my hot take. Okay. Fire away there, Cody.
Okay, so just to reiterate what Shawn said about David Fincher, you know, he's done better work, and you know, if he doesn't win for this, I'm not gonna be all that surprised. I do also think my money's gonna be on Chloe Zhao, or however you properly pronounce her last name. I'm not positive, but I do think she's definitely the strongest contender because, you know, Nomadland was an excellent movie, and I think her previous movie before that was rather well received too. And on top of that, she's going to be helming the Eternals movie from Marvel whenever the hell that's ever going to actually come out. So she's, you know, she's on the up and up lately. So I think definitely she's a strong contender for Best Director. Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. I think there's definitely a strong possibility there too, just because I think this director did a great job of, you know, directing that movie. And, you know, I've gushed about Promising Young Woman enough, and I'm probably gonna do it again later this week when the Blu-ray comes out. Not trying to plug my channel or anything here, but, you know, that's what happens. So, yeah, so pretty much my thoughts are in line with everybody else so far. Chloe Zhao, probably gonna win. Emerald Fennell, be cool if that was a winner too.
Cool. All right. I'm going to reserve my comments on the director into Best Picture. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just I will grab. We'll move to Best Picture now, and I'll grab the. Let me grab the screen here, and I'll rattle off who is in Best Picture, and then I'll start if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your show, man.
All right. Okay. Oh, damn it. Best Picture.
Every time.
Listen, there's nothing better than these overlays, guys, because I can zip through to make chapter markers. Don't judge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we are. But the nominees for Best Picture are The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And it is interesting, you know, I think it's something you guys have noted, you know, a couple where it's like, oh, that wasn't, you know, the director wasn't nominated. And for myself, I link the success of the picture and the director so closely that I kind of question when they say, oh, this is worthy of a Best Picture nomination. The director, not so much. Especially, and, you know, speaking to Jim's point, because I did see the Trial of Chicago 7, which is so an Aaron Sorkin movie. Like it's got his stamp everywhere. I kind of understand. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with the whole idea of the auteur, but in this case, it's like, yeah, that was his movie. He made that film. So to say it's potentially a Best Picture nominee, but that he is not a Best Director option, it's like, fuck
What?
off. You know, well, and it is, guys. Like, I mean, this kind of leans into what will probably be a bit of a rant about the relevance of these award shows anyway. That said, I think that's just kind of tonally sort of off, but it also does go into what Jim said, and you guys seem to kind of agree, or no, what Shawn said. Sorry, Shawn. What Shawn said about the chances. What do you guys say about chances? I think it was Shawn. Yeah, it's, why even have it on the list? It's not going to win unless you get into that weird sort of, well, I'm afraid of that, and I don't want to do that. Oh, what the hell? That's easy. Because it's not political. It's one of the things I did not like about the film, which is why I'd even say is it really great? It's a really good film, but it's not great. It's kind of if it wins, it's like they all went for the most milk toasty thing they could pick off this list. Other than maybe, well, not even Mank. Mank, I'm with you guys. It bothers me on its face. Like, it's just, oh, for fuck. It's just tiresome in its trailer. But yeah, the Trial of the Chicago 7 shouldn't be on it. And if it wins, that would be a terrible thing, because A, it's not great. B, it's not, it would show that they're just unwilling to make, that the voters are unwilling to make a call, and everyone's second best or third best got in because they're, that's easy. I don't, if I were to, and again, so many of the movies I haven't seen, I gotta admit, I'm like, I'd be happy. I don't know. I'd be happy if Minari won. I think that'd be super cool. Second time in a row, but also a kind of a comment on how cinema's changed. Notwithstanding, say, certain cultural pushback, reactionary forces within, broader within our culture, our political culture, around the Western world, and even in the Asian world, let's say, that kind of nationalist, hyper chauvinistic. I think Minari does speak to how the world really works. We're not just a monolith anymore, if we ever were. And so I got to admit, just my own worldview, my own politics, my own worldview, I'd like that. But if I was a betting man, I would not take any of these bets. It's just too, there's too many that are very close. So I got to admit, I'm like, I'd like Minari to win. Most of them wouldn't bother me, except for the Trial of the Chicago 7 and Mank, just because, like, All right. So there you go. That's my feeling on this. And it kind of speaks to the director component as well. Yeah, I think it does, at least. Anyway, so who's next? Cody.
Cody.
Okay.
Like,
I was trying to say nose goes, but okay. Yeah, so best picture. I think I mentioned this at the very beginning of the stream. I've seen literally 50% of the movies in the best picture nominee list, which is actually a little bit better than I have previous years. Usually when it comes to these kind of things, I like to wait to see what wins. So I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should finally check that out. But this time I'm like, I want to see as many as possible before the awards come out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the four that I did see on the list were Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of Chicago 7. I agree. I don't think Trial's going to win. It's probably like you said, the most milk toasty thing they could have picked, and that would have been kind of like a really when you had the Promising Young Woman. Okay. Sound of Metal, I really enjoyed that movie. Had a couple of very strong performances, especially with Riz Ahmed, and I think overall it was a well-made movie. not positive if it would be like a really, really strong contender to win Best Picture, but again, really good movie. Promising Young Woman, I'm sure everyone's like, dude, shut the fuck up about Promising Young Woman already, but I would love to see that win. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Nomadland, I really like that movie more than most did. Whether or not it would be Best Picture worthy good, I'm not positive, but I do think it's on the list. Of course, there is a strong possibility for that. And I think if I was going to bet, I would probably say Minari will win. I haven't seen it, but just with kind of like what you said, Rob, with, the changing of, culture and, the way we perceive movies from different voices, let's say, I think it has a good possibility, and it is, because it's kind of one of those movies with word of mouth. It'll be like, oh yeah, everyone else is talking about it, I want to see it, and, kind of get on the hype train with people. So I'd say Minari was most likely going to win, but I would love to see it if maybe Promising Young Woman or Sound of Metal win.
Oh, cool. All right. Is there any... Let me circle back to that question. I can't quite capture it in my brain. Jim, do you want to go next?
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
Oh,
and one quick note.
Am I cutting?
You're cutting in and a bit, in and out a bit. You know what? Maybe what we'll do is I'll put Shawn on for now. Oh, wait.
Sure.
Oh, wait. You're coming in now. Fine. But I am going to make a quick... Okay. I'm going to make a quick comment here, folks. Apparently, Dragon Movie Guy is at 96 subs. Do we have it in us to push one more person?
Yes, that would be amazing.
That would be stupid cool. So let's
everybody.
See if we can't just push Dragon Movie Guy 96 subs. Can we get him to 100? Do we have what it takes? So anyway, enough of me, Jim.
Well,
testify,
I'm trying to subscribe. There's a picture of him even. Okay, there we go.
There it is.
97.
All right. Okay, we're moving forward. Okay, Jim, Best Picture. Give us your...
I'll just quickly go with Nomadland. Just follow it's like that ball that's chasing Indiana Jones at the start of the movie. That's the one of the momentum. And I'll just keep it simple and go for that one. The interesting thing, too, is that... Twitter is kind of funny. Of course, it's the sometimes cool place, sometimes cesspool. And just going on it this morning, it was like equal parts contrarian or just sort of fully contrarian. They were like, the Trial of Chicago 7, it's the worst movie, it's the weakest one. And Promising Young Woman, oh, what a trash movie. Like every movie was garbage, apparently. So I thought that was just that wall. It's like Phil Spector's wall of sound. It's the wall of contrarianism. You just hit it, and it's just like you're afraid to like anything because I thought that was good. You're garbage. But anyway, so Nomadland. I'll just go with that one.
Cool. All right. Any. If you could pick one, if you're the one in charge, is there one that you would pick, or are you like me where it's like a lot of them, I have an opinion on the narrative outside the film because I haven't seen the film.
Mm-hmm. And that's another, that might fit into your sort of final point there. Judas, there's a bunch that I could go with here. Judas and the Black Messiah. Minari would be cool. Nomadland, Sound of Metal. Any of these sort of, you're always going for a little bit of the underdog, I guess you could say. And it's always neat to see new voices, get sort of promoted or sort of put up there. And it it only leads to good things, like a more interesting project coming out in the future, I think, so it's sort of it leads to more promising for all movie watchers. So that's what I'd say. I don't have my heart set on any one right now, but I'll just stick with Nomadland for now.
Cool. Folks, it's important to announce that we have officially pushed 2 channels over 100 subs. So,
yes!
Congratulations. This is why we have Jim. I'm sure you'd agree with me. The best chat on the internet.
Yeah.
All right. That's fantastic. That's great. And what a great way to bring on certainly while the last one to speak on actual nominations and given their hot takes, definitely not the least. Shawn, bring us home.
Okay.
Testify,
I am
brother.
ready. I'm so ready.
I have no doubt. The hardest working man in internet movie reviews, it's Shawn Jackson from Lost in the Reel.
Okay, so I just want to say there's 2 snubs here. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and One Night in Miami.
Yes.
Both films were people considered those to be locks, both of them. So the omission of the 2 of them is very interesting. I liked both of them a lot. So kind of disappointed that they were left out. I feel like the both of them could still be in there, and then there's your 10 nominees.
Yeah.
I am so happy, though, that Sound of Metal is here. Once again, it was one of my favorite films from last year, and first-time director with Darius Martyr, and I'm just so happy to see it here. I think it's an incredible film. Mank, not happy to see here, but surprise, surprise. Minari, I am absolutely elated that it's getting all the love that it is. And I actually did not love it the first time that I saw it, but it's really sat with me well. And I'm more fond of it the more that I've let time pass.
Oh, cool.
Definitely. But I'm just going to say what I would love to win and what I think is going to win. I agree with Jim, definitely. Nomadland is probably going to win. And if that doesn't win, then I do see Trial of the Chicago 7 bumping in there just because of how timely it is, but I don't think it's deserving. I agree with all of you guys. I think it is a good film that is definitely not great, and I think it's a little sanitized for what its subject matter is. But what I would love to win is, I would give my left testicle if Promising Young Woman won. I would be so happy.
Okay, hand it over.
Your left testicle?
Yep, just the left one though.
Okay,
That's
well,
what Oscar,
why-
Oscar,
like, I mean-
Oscar night, 3 a.m. knock on the door. You've come for
I'm
it,
here.
John.
is there a difference between the left or right, to be a little crass?
Oh,
Is there something where you kind of go, I'd give the left one,
my God.
but the right one, there's a higher level.
Jim
You
and
want me to
Rob
give the right
overanalyze
one up?
testicles.
I gotta.
I'm
Hey,
just more fond of the
Cody.
right one. What can I
Sean,
say?
open that door. I get to walk through it. But what was
Cody's
that,
gonna
Sean?
jump
You were
out
saying
the
you
window
just
and
like
behind
the.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
like
just more
the-
fond of the right one.
Hey, you know what? And that's cool. That's that's fine. All right, folks. I think this is a great time to move into the more entertaining part of our evening, a little looser and everything. And that's a great note since we're bringing up
What is it?
testes and.
Jim and
I
Rob,
wanna
late night.
Oh my God.
Jim and Rob after, dark.
hours.
After dark.
I do want to ask you guys, should we, why do we care, or not why do we care, should we care as much as we do about the Oscar nominations? And like I say this, it was interesting. Somebody, it was on Twitter, and I didn't get into it because this is a terrible place to argue with someone who's passionate about a particular choice. But, you know, it was about Spike Lee, Delroy Lindo, The Five Bloods, and person saying X. And there's a part of me I wanted to say, and it's just, you can't say it on Twitter, but I was like, kind of, you know, I felt differently about it, but you could say it about all the choices, the ones I liked, the ones I didn't. It's like all these people have a great body of work. If they didn't win, who cares? They're going to be recognized as great. Some of these films, and you know, The Five Bloods I don't see it, but I have to allow for the fact in a few years that the film may go through you know, one of those things where it gets reassessed. And even by myself, where I go, kind of like what you were saying, Shawn, about Minari. I didn't like it, but you know, like a good stew, it's settled into its flavors overnight, and you're like, kind of, you know, this is a lot better than I initially thought. Maybe I will see The Five Bloods, but it's one of those things where, in some ways, these award shows are so irrelevant to what we think is great work. You know, really, truly, almost has no impact on our pop culture idea of that is a great film, that is not a great film. When Jim and I did our thing on Bonnie and Clyde, what was noteworthy was the fact that it's like, wow, it was nominated for an Oscar as Best Picture, along with these other amazing films that were recognized on the day, and we still think of them now as amazing work. Whereas a lot of time it's like, well, apparently the middle choice won. You know, The King's Speech is a fine film, but it's not greatness. So, you know, it's something where, how connected should we care? Should we more just look at them as entertainment? And I wanted to have that conversation. I wanted to know what you guys thought. So there you go. That's there's where I'm coming from. I want to know where you guys are coming from. Why do you care about it? And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like why do you have an opinion on it? I struggle with, I don't know why I do. Go ahead, Jim.
I can start. My mom passed away last year, but she was the one that she was the pop culture one in the house. Dad less so, but she would watch. She also brought us up. Dad lived in another city, and we would go visit in the summers. But you know, Oscars, I remember distinctly watching it with her every year, and she'd get all excited for it, and she watched it right in, you know, until the end. And from that, I've subsequently never missed one, even when we lived in Japan. Back then in the 90s, they were on Monday nights. I don't know if it's probably predating some of us, but it was on Monday nights. So with the time change, it would be on Tuesday morning in Japan. And so Carla and I would take the morning off work, teaching English in rural Japan, and we'd watch the live broadcast. So it's just for me, it's fun. It also, I identify it strongly with spring. You know, it's one of those things, you've been through the winter, you've watched all the movies, you know, and it's sort of just one of those little spring traditions, family traditions. So I don't take it super seriously, but I don't miss it. Like, I never miss it either. It's one of those fun things. When you're a kid,
like a pop culture ritual.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not tons of those, right? There tends not to be tons of those anymore. Whereas we devote a lot of our lives to pop culture. Oh, I just lost my mic. We devote a lot of our lives to pop culture. there's not a lot of traditions that way. I mean, we're not even going to the movie theaters these days, right? So, so it just all sort of feeds into that. And the other thing too is that when you're a kid, when you're sort of, there's a couple tools you use to give your world a better frame of reference. For me, one of the late night movies, the local CKND, it's now global. They had this, I guess, a fairly great curator. It was probably just some schmo, some divorced dude who chose the movies, and he always did a great job. There's a movie at 1 and a movie at 3, and 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. So that was one of the tools he used to like watch these amazing performances, or watch Charles
Saturday
Lawton,
Night Live, and then
Saturday Night Live, yeah.
pissed around and
Yeah, Monster Chiller Horror Theater, I think, was one of them. But they would show Charles Lawton in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I knew those movies. I saw Casablanca and all these other movies. So those things all together, and award shows, they when you're a kid, they sort of tell you what's good, like what you should look, whether or not they're correct, what to look out for. These is where, so it's sort of a tool when you're a young moviegoer, and that's I've stuck with it since, and I don't always abide by them, but yeah, no, it's one of those things that I've relied on or sort of just look forward to my whole life.
That's a great point. Like I was saying, and I just pulled it up. I saw the 1937 version of Captain's Courageous, which is a movie that has stuck with me, and I saw it when I was probably 12 or 13 on late night television. That's really cool. What, Shawn, do you want to kind of pick up on any threads of Jim's, or just jump in with your own? Why do you think we care? Why do you, or should we care, or why do you care? I don't know.
Yeah, I think everything that Jim said was beautiful. I'm fond of the movies because of my dad. My dad was super into film, so it reminds me of him. And also, I think it's just important. Yeah, we can get excited about who's nominated, who's being recognized for their work. I think that's something that you should. I think that's important because people put a lot of time and effort and their blood, sweat, and tears into film. I think we should recognize them. I don't think we should care as much about who wins, even though it's still fun to guess who's going to win. But I think it's just important because we just want to bring people together. And I think that's what film does. That's why you do your show, why we all have our channels on YouTube. It brings us together to talk about film. And I think these award shows do the very same thing.
No, great point. What about you, Cody?
Yeah, I guess my thoughts on the Oscars are not too dissimilar to both Jim and Shawn's. It is essentially like a pop culture ritual of sorts. You see all these movies that come out over the course of a year, then you're like, ooh, I wonder if that one's gonna get the Oscar, but that performance that's probably not gonna get nominated. I feel like over the last couple of years, I haven't really paid attention to the ceremony itself. I kind of just like go on Twitter and like, okay, who won it? This minute. But
that's my MO.
Yeah, but there's also just a few kind of fun things about the ceremony itself. Like getting to see different songs from the movies get played out. Like whatever the famous Bond song for the Bond movie that year gets played, and the fun little segments,
the weird little traditions of the show.
Yeah, and the parts where they get to honor those who passed away, and you get to see sometimes maybe your favorite actors you don't see super often will pop up. To maybe talk about the history of like heroes or villains or something. That is really cool. And also I feel like the Oscars, the awards themselves, they're almost like kind of like bragging rights in a way. So it's like, oh yeah, this director's got this many Oscars under their belt. Of course their movies are going to be a big deal and things like that. So, I don't want to say it's like a clout thing, but it kind of is. And also, the fact that we still have the Oscars, it also just kind of helps, like I think somebody mentioned, kind of guide people's interests in what they watch, because, you know,
Mhm.
when you hear, oh, this movie got the Oscar, maybe I should check it out if it won this prestigious award. Uh, I know I've done that a few times, like when Spotlight won back in 2015, 2016.
Mm.
Like, I didn't know much about the movie, but I was like, oh, next day I went out and I found the Blu-ray for super cheap, so I bought it and I was like, oh yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Mhm.
So maybe,
And also an incredible bummer.
yeah, a little, so yeah, I mean, sometimes I think it's important to maintain certain traditions like the Oscars, just because it's one of those things that, maybe it's not perfect, but it's definitely something that it's nice to look forward to talk about, criticize, roast each other for 2.5 hours over. It's it's one of those things that doesn't need to. It's still got some relevance, maybe not as relevant as it used to be, but it's something to look forward to and talk about once a year.
Yeah, no, I think those great answers, man. All of you guys, like I like the, and I like the idea of it as a cultural, let's say a pop culture touchstone, and because of the way the internet works and our access, not just our access to sharing our message, our access to each other, to be able to discuss it on a deeper, let's say a deeper level, a more personal level. I think that's super cool. And I appreciate, where this kind of takes a more personal place in our lives. And I think that's amazing. And I guess that's why I'd say, because I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. Oh, Jim briefly disappeared. I'm sure he will be back. This is not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. We will not panic. I'm going to just put this on screen briefly, just to remind you guys to remind me if we don't speak to it. But on the one hand, and Mr. Cheboyko has returned.
Woo!
Woo!
Can you say something, sir? Oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
Just want to get a level.
Hello? Sibilance.
Perfect. I think people have to understand when they're watching the Oscars, when they're watching these choices and that, when they got all amped up about something. Remember, it is not just it was originally developed as a way to bring up prestige. This thing was starting to be talked about when Fatty Arbuckle got caught in a sex and murder scandal. And all of a sudden there's a lot of talk in Hollywood because there's always been, especially within the United States, every now and then moral crusaders. And there was a real worry that they'd get government regulation would start messing with their business. And a lot of Hollywood's money is made on, let's say, for the masses entertainment. So a lot of what drove the Academy was like, hey, we got to class ourselves up a bit and show that we can make great art and keep the government out of our business. It's the same time, the Hays Code, like there was a number of movements to show that they could regulate themselves. As well, it's a business. They're also, oh, you know what? This would also help us market our stuff. We could sell our shit. We could both celebrate ourselves and market ourselves to our customers. And so I'm always kind of frustrated when I see people really get amped up about it. I love talking about the snub in part because it's making fun of ourselves. What has Spike Lee done to me other than make some remarkable films, including Malcolm X, which I still think in some ways in my brain is in that list. I'd want that film. I may never watch it again, but I'd want it on my hard drive if I was stuck on a deserted island. these people have not done me wrong by making amazing work. At the same time, I don't want to take them too seriously either. So it's, they're not religious figures. On the other hand, I want to push back, and I love, you guys gave me better reasons than I could ever come back with, but you see that capital A artist, you see it on Twitter. At the same time, people are getting really too upset about who did or didn't get nominated. You got other ding-dongs getting really, ignore it. It's not about the art. It's strictly about commerce, and it's like, who are you to shit on everyone's parade? Like, you know what? It's still a time when people are right, wrong, are talking about film, talking about an art form that is still, one of the most universal. It's okay. Here's the lefty in me. It is controlled by capital. Yes, it's a big business, but it's still something that's way more accessible to us than so many other art forms. And for those capital A artistes to crap on it is almost to say, who are these peasants in their peasant pleasures thinking they can talk about that like it's art or something? So I kind of, and you guys gave me, better than I could have come up with on my own, that sort of pushback on that. So, I guess, yeah, in a weird way, as long as we have it to answer the other implied question is, should we? Not just why, we've answered why. So I think we should still care about it at the right order and measure. That'd be a good consensus opinion.
Yeah,
we all agreed on something.
I think the danger is to take it too seriously. But as I said, it's a way to look at something that we look at anyway. Like a different way to look at it. So, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, actually. Like, I've made smart remarks about, what was your greatest? I think I was talking to somebody in the chat, and it was Katie Fowler, and was like, well, tell me your greatest moment of the 2013 Academy Awards. But there are moments that we remember at this great cultural moment, notwithstanding that it serves the interests of capital. And so you've got the entertaining. I do remember this. Jim, do you remember this? JG says, I still remember Jack Balance doing one-arm push-ups. It's just insane and kind of bonkers. What are you doing, you crazy old man?
Yeah.
Either of you guys, this might be before
fun.
your time. This moment where Jack Palance did that.
It was for City Slickers. He was a suit, like, he was in his 70s at the time. Yeah. And he went on stage and did one-arm push-ups just to show how vital he still was.
Yeah.
But it was done for humor,
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of fun and bonkers, DMG also says Chadwick Boseman's widow doing the Golden Globes acceptance speech. You have these emotional moments too. These truly, even if they're made fun of later, poor Sally Fields, you really like me, when it's like, well, she's an insecure actress, probably constantly chewing on herself. I don't think we'd make fun of her like she was made fun of at the time, but yeah, these are all great cultural, pop culture, but culture nonetheless, moments, and as legitimate as any other cultural effort, really. All right. Shashank, apparently he agrees with us, which is always nice. Listen, guys, before we get into final thoughts, I think it is time. We haven't done this because I don't do this as often as I should, but I do believe it's time to shamelessly beg for a like. If you haven't already, folks, please subscribe. And then, well, here, Jim, I think we should trade spots for this next one.
Sure.
Let's ring that bell. I will never go for
kinetic
the digital.
movement.
as long as Jim has that bell,
Yes.
we will never do the digital version. I might do the digital version for the rest of the stuff, but that will always be.
I don't know if I've shown you guys, but this is a wedding bell. It says "Ring for a Kiss." I got it
Wait,
at the
let's
dollar
give you the whole
store.
screen there, man. Bring it up.
Oh,
Ring for a kiss. $1.50 at Dollarama, but
So cheesy.
I know.
All right, folks. I think that brings us to, you know what? Before we get into final thoughts, I also will shamelessly plug Jim and I are going to be, again, next week. We're doing one night in Miami, 9:30
Only
p.m.
one?
Central. Just one. That's all we could swing. It's a low budget show, Jim. Sorry about that, Shawn. Here, let's we'll have the company visible. Anyway, everybody, one night in Miami next week here on the internets at Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies at 9:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, Universal Time Code, Universal Coordinated Time -5. So love to
Whatever
see you
that
here.
means.
Love to have you all join the best chat on the internet. If you're not already spending time with these
Simpsons
lovely people. What's that?
Quick Simpsons reference. Quick Simpsons reference.
Yes.
When Homer's trying to get on Marge's good side and trying to become more arty. He goes, "Oh look, Marge! Oh, tickets to one night at Philip Glass. Only one."
It's terrible. Awesome. All right. Shashank says, does anyone remember Joe Pesci's speech for Goodfellas?
so.
I do not remember that. It's something I think I want to look up now.
Mhm.
And then DMG says, Rob just turned into Sally Field. You know what? I'm okay with that. I can handle it. All right. So, folks, now that I've done that, let us, we got one more thing to cover. Final thoughts. Is there anything, before I send you all into the green room, maybe we have a little after the show, digital virtual drink together. Why don't you give me your final thoughts? And you know what? Let's give the whole screen first to Shawn.
Woo!
Whoa.
Oh.
We could all hear you. You can hear us, but
So my final thoughts are, I think this year they really did a great job picking the nominees, besides Mank. I'm just going to drill that in one more time. But I think this is a great year for the nominees. I think it was a great year in film in general. I'm shocked that so many people have said that it wasn't that great. I think there's so many great films. If there's one thing to take away from what I feel and what I hope to happen is I really just hope there's some kind of love in there for Promising Young Woman on awards night.
all right, cool. Cody, why don't you take over from there?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't say this has been a bad year for film. It's been an unusual year to say the least, with pretty much everything not coming out like it was supposed to. But, I think if any of these nominees are anything to go by, we've still had some rather strong movies come out. And, I think there are some categories where it's almost a given who's going to win, and couple, it's like, we'll see, I think it'll be interesting, and maybe we'll be coming back next month and eating some of our words, so.
And we will speak to that after the show, because, yes, I think we should do that. Okay, Jim.
Final thoughts. This Restream software, I can make my screen bigger. That's a new feature, but that's sort of
They've
inside.
got a number of new features.
Yeah, that's sort of inside baseball. You folks can't see it. No, a nice mix of movies and people and talent. I was looking at. We didn't really talk too much about documentary or a little bit about animation. There's a movie called Collective that a lot of people, I think it's Romanian, that a lot of people speak very highly of. But I have a lot of movies to watch. That's my final thought.
All right. Well, on for myself, gents, I'm. How can I put this? Here's my prediction. I think one of the reasons, and I agree with, I think Shawn, you said it first. It has actually been for films, especially smaller films, because usually, because of the theater situation, our bandwidth hasn't been taken up with those monster flicks that suck up all the money, all the attention. We haven't had to deal with that, and so we're seeing movies that I think actually have been percolating for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and a lot of it is, and I mean this, it's the creative output of Me Too, of Black Lives Matter, because that's been a movement that's been going on for several years, of cultural change, of change in demographics, in change in worldview, and we are reaping those creative benefits of this rather monumental. These are like almost like weird little historical documents, opinion pieces on a thing we've gone through, especially in North America. Even the like you guys are saying, it's like, you know, when's the last time an American director has won Best Director? You know, Hollywood has always actually been really open to foreign creative influence. Maybe not foreign film, but yeah, they have no problem hiring a foreigner if it's like, oh, you can help us make money, come on in. You know, and that goes back to the 20s and the 30s. That said, I think we're benefiting from that. So here's my hot take, or no, let's say my big prediction, my big swing prediction. I think next year, but the year after, and 3 years from that, we're going to start to see some really interesting films. You've got the last of the Trump era, the truly watershed time that we're living through now, and we still don't know what it looks like completely on the other side with COVID-19. It's the way how that's going to affect us in film. We're going to see in starting in a year, but in 2, 3, 4 years, we may have another year, kind of like this year, where we think it's safe, but actually it's just, no, there's a lot of amazing work and a stinker. And even the stinkers aren't like totally stinking up the joint, you know, like we do. Let's flip it around. We have a year where the five Bloods can be left, and people are thinking of other films that could have been on the list. You know, like no one's going, get rid of that, or if they are, it's one film they're saying get off the list. Not, why are 6 of these nominated? And I think that's kind of remarkable. So there's my final take. That, and of course, guys, thank you all so much for joining us. So with that in mind, I think what I'll do now is quickly say, I'll say goodbye to you one by one, take you off the screen, and but first let's get one. We've got a couple last comments. Here's one interesting note. I guess the people saying that haven't seen much of the films this year, absolutely, but some of it's just, well, at least in my case, just laziness. I mean, so much you could see, even if we couldn't see it in the theater, we could see it. There was a way to see it. Not to allude to too much coming out. Talk about the rise of the streamers, eh? Like, Shawn.
Oh yeah, baby.
DMG, all of us here love the Oscars, but when the Snyder cut pulls in 5 Oscars next year, ooh, oh baby.
Oh, does that get something?
Oh, do you think?
It's Cody's favorite part
Hot
of the show.
Take. Fuck it. There's
He's gonna-
another
he's
hot
gonna be-
take.
He's going to be at 3 a.m. He's going to be slay pacing. Hot take, hot take.
I'm gonna write it all over the walls too. And
All right. First of all, yes, Dan. Good night. So glad you're over 100.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? Shawn, Cody, of course, Jim. We'll all stick around. I'm going to send you to the green room now. First.
One quick note: Damien Chazelle won
Yes.
in 2016, so I was wrong. Yeah, I was just checking that now. He's American, so that's.
Oh,
But
there you go.
before then, it was I think Catherine Bigelow going back. So yeah, not a lot anyway in the last 10 years.
Mhm. Oh, you're absolutely right, Katie. The hot take never gets old.
That's what Cody says.
All right.
As he
boy.
bursts into flame.
Oh, I'm gonna have some fun with that at a later date. Okay, DMG says thanks for getting me to 100 too. You're very welcome. So happy we could
Yes,
all be a
yeah.
part of that. That's super cool. All right, Shawn. Thanks again. Let me just one more time, everyone. This is where you can find Shawn on Twitter at Lost in the Reel. Also, Lost in the Reel you can just search it on YouTube, or there is a link in the description to his channel. Go check him out. Great content coming out way more regularly than Jim and I ever do. Okay.
Not true.
All right, my friend. We'll see you. We'll see you in the green room after the digital green room after. Okay. All right, Cody. Cody, my friend.
yeah,
Thank you, as always, so much for coming, so much for joining us. You have been our leading guest host since 2020. Our first guest
Whoa.
host, I think, Jim, eh?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
Or
really?
maybe Shashank. Shashank was our first guest host.
Kyle Wong. Kyle Wong was a guest. Yeah,
He
we did
wa-
do a movie with him.
We did, though. We did. You know what?
Oh, no,
it
we
doesn't
did, yeah,
matter.
yeah.
You are
We'll
the
go back.
most You are the guest
I'm the
host with the
regular,
most
yeah.
appearances. You are a regular guest host. That's exactly right. You're not a special guest star. You're a guest star. You're a regular recurring character in the Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies cinematic universe, YouTube universe. Again, though, Cody, thank you very much. Really appreciate you making it out. Let's again. So to find Cody on Twitter, it's at Cody Brockopp. That's CodyBrocko. P as in Paul. P as in Paul. You'll find the
PP.
Brockopp Side on YouTube. Link in the description. If you haven't already, go check them out. Again, another hardworking YouTube content maker that I feel deserves your or would earn your attention. Okay, Cody. Again, thanks very much for coming out. Thanks for contributing, and we'll see you in the digital green room.
All right, thanks for having me.
Well, Jim, another great show, eh?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, good content from the stream and from the chat. That was a lot of fun. People I hadn't met before. I'll ask you about some of them, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of great new folks coming in, and that's awesome. And that's a lot to do with our wonderful co-hosts who really did, get the word out that we were doing that. I hope folks, for you, those that they stick around, because I think we could be that other piece of your YouTube movie creator puzzle, but Jim, so glad you were able to make it, and
me too.
Looking forward to next week when we take a look at when we get back to our regularly scheduled programming, because it is Jim and Rob. It's Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. All right, my friend, see you in the digital green room.
You bet.
All right, everybody. Again, thank you all so very much for joining us. For those of you, some of you folks are new to the show, new subscribers. thanks for coming by, especially if you stuck it out this far. That is super cool. Let's whip through some of these comments in that. Shashank, thank you. DMG, thank you very much for coming by. Katie, thank you very much. You and Richard, really appreciate it. 2/3 of the Balmoral Street Research Irregulars. Who else do we got? We've got the Upside Down. Thanks for coming by, man. John Willig, and I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Of course, another name that I kind of screwed up, but I think I did fix in the end. Mr. Ted Leroy, thank you so much for coming by and that you stuck around that long. We'll talk tomorrow. That's cool. Who else do we got here? Of course, my co-hosts. And as I scroll through so many chats, boy, what an active chat. Again, the best chat on the internet. Of course it's active. Jelly Duck, our man in Kuwait City. We've got, my goodness, I am going to find Fudge. Crystal Parker, thank you very much for dropping by. Really appreciate that. Eddie Roberts, thanks for coming by. Nocturnal Critic, thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate you popping in and saying hi and checking us out. Who else do we got? I'm sure I'm missing some folks, and I'm so sorry about that. We appreciate everyone in the chat, everyone who gets active, everyone who's just lurking, watching, taking out what we're taking in. Feel free to comment after in the comment section once this thing kind of reposts itself. I think we're pretty much done now. Yeah, folks, is it that time? I think it is. I think it's time to bring down the tunes and
I've been in your